Howdy everybody, Jacob here. This should come as no surprise to any of you at this point, but we did experience some technical difficulties during this episode. Joshua was joining us over the internet, and for whatever reason, a lot of what he had to say just didn't come through. It became apparent to us after a while that if he didn't talk for like a really long, complete sentence, if he just said a brief comment, sometimes even if he did say a complete sentence, it just didn't come through on our end, which means we don't have the audio because he didn't make a local recording of what he was doing. So if he seems a little bit quiet during parts of this video, that's the main reason why. We literally lost a lot of the stuff that he had to say because it just didn't get transmitted. Anyway, but whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Just wanted to note that going into it. Today we're talking about news and whatnot that came out of Gamescom. Then Joey's going to talk a little bit about Back 4 Blood, and Joshua's going to talk about Humankind, the video game, not the overall condition of like the population of planet Earth and the human condition. We'll tackle that a later week, maybe.
Yeah, the Riders of Republic trailer, world premiere, even though it's not a world.
Yeah, it's not a world premiere. A lot of world premieres of games we've already seen.
Yeah, there was
at the game at the not the Jeff Awards at the opening ceremony for game. I guess that's it. Let's just go ahead and start. We're not just talking about the Gamescom opening ceremony today. We're gonna be talking about. We were gonna record an episode anyway several days ago, and then we didn't get to do it, and we're like, wait, we're talking about Gamescom's gonna be in a couple days anyway. Let's just wait and do it after that.
Why not? It's an extravaganza of ideas.
Woohoo! Anyway, Joey and I are here. Joshua's joining us over the internet. Say hello. It didn't work that time either.
Uh-oh.
Joshua, are you there? Mr. Kojima, Are you there? There he goes. He came through that time.
Jeez.
Mr. Kojima, are you there? Joshua, Jeff got to talk about Mr. Kojima today.
Oh yeah?
My friend Hideo Kojima.
I love the
Activate
romance.
it.
It's great.
Yeah, he got to because he talked about you know what? It was literally the ending of the show, but since I bothered to bring it up, they showed footage of Death Stranding director's cut. We're not gonna just talk about news. Like I said, we were gonna do a normal. We're just gonna get normal, whatever. We don't know what this damn show is. We're just getting right into it. There's no reason to waste time with pleasantries. So they showed Death Stranding director's cut, and Joshua, he's made it into a video game.
What way? How is that possible?
That now there are VR missions where you just shoot things and you play stealth game and you sneak.
No, that's impossible.
And guess what? And you know how like the main mechanical interest is like walking around and carrying things?
Yeah.
Now you don't have to. You can get a robot to carry the things for you.
And if you want to do it, but a little bit different, you can put all your stuff on a cannon and just fire it.
You can, if there's a big obstruction that would be hard for you to climb over with all the baggage on, you can shoot the baggage over the mountain in a cannon and then just go pick it up after you're finished climbing the mountain.
And
so you realize that the actual game of Death Stranding is not worth playing?
He added in a bunch, there's a bunch of VR missions that are both stealth and combat oriented, and there's some kind of new mission that's in there, which is just like a Metal Gear level. Yeah. It looks like he's going through Shadow Moses.
Because that's the thing, is it's very close quarters, it's filled with enemies, it's like, okay, this is... You had mentioned a while back when they were talking about this version, they'd shown off like new guns and stuff, and you were like, well, why even bother? Nobody uses the guns. It's like, okay, well, they crafted reasons for you to this time.
They created scenarios where you use the gun, where you shoot the gun. I got nothing else to say about Death Stranding director's cut, except there was a big whale at the end, because Kojima likes whales, but he has yet to figure out how to actually involve one in the story in a meaningful way. The entirety of Metal Gear Solid 5 was him trying to involve whales in the story in a meaningful way, and he just couldn't do it.
Well, just from the trailer that I saw, I doubt it's meaningful this time around either.
Oh, no, I don't think so either. So, Josh, you can pull that up, and you can mute it if you want, because it's a very loud J-pop. Not even J-pop. I don't know how to describe it.
That hurt. I heard 5 seconds of it, and I wanted to die.
I think it's Korean, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe Korean. Is it Korean?
It's probably K-pop. That's what all the kids are into nowadays.
Anyway, Joshua... So this game looks wild, and the children are kind of freakish. The first 30 seconds, I was like, oh dear, what is this? But then it goes on. It goes on, you see, Joshua.
It goes on for a very long time.
Yeah, it's one of the longer, just gameplay trailers they showed. And it starts getting wild. I was like, oh, is this like a Jet Set Radio type?
Why does the kid have a hoverboard?
And then he has an umbrella and a double jump ability, and later on he's gonna get the ability to Spider-Man off of nothing, like older like PS1 Spider-Man game before the physics mattered. You could just swing off of nothing. This game feels like games felt
like Spider-Man?
This game feels like games felt when I played them as a kid.
Yes.
You like your imagination of what a game felt like. It wasn't really that good, but just you're filling in the gaps of what the quality actually was with your imagination and your lack of game literacy. This feels like Lego Island 2 felt when I played it in 2003 or 2002 or whenever.
Lego Island 2 is a perfect game with no problems. Shut up.
This is one of the games that, I only briefly saw a trailer because I was driving, but every time I looked back, I was like, what is this thing?
You were looking at your phone while driving, Joey?
I was at a stop sign.
Freaking horrible human.
I do not. I am a law-abiding
I do
citizen.
not.
Okay, Tommy Wiseau,
I did not use secret mafia money to fund this movie. I did not. Anyway, this look, I don't know, I was looking at this and I was like, initially I was like, I don't like the character designs, what is this, the frame rate looks weird, this is like, and then it kept going on and I was like, this just keeps going, and it keeps getting crazier, and I don't think...
said the name yet for our podcast audience.
Dukev. I'll put some video on it on screen if I have to. I kind of like it with the E3 one, you know?
Yeah.
I'll put a little video on screen of this. I'm not going to do as much video for this as I did for the E3 one, because we're not going to be talking about game trailers the entire time. But like this, I have to put a bit of on screen, because I don't know how, I knew, Josh, but I was going to...
I'm watching the trailer, and I still don't know what this game is.
It's a third-person shooter.
Your soul isn't good enough to understand this.
It's a third-person shooter with monster taming elements and dream eaters, I think.
But where...
Yeah.
But you're still... They're not fighting for you. You're fighting them, but capturing them, but... Are they automatically fighting alongside
later on? First of all, some of this environmental work is actually gorgeous, by the way. No, there's later on. There's they're doing like pre-canned. There's GTA gameplay here that looks like GTA 5. There's pre-canned combo animations they do with the monsters in a second here that look like the moves that Sora can do with Dream Eaters and Dream Drop Distance, which means it's got to be a good game. See right here, like this looks like it's some kind of combo move with some kind of Pokemon.
Thing, creature.
That was a character from Tekken, I believe, just a second ago.
No. Thing cards.
Skins that you can get.
Is that Kuma?
Kuma,
yeah. I think so. Yeah, because there's a panda skin for Kuma.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Or maybe the panda version of Kuma is a different character.
Is this a Tekken game?
I think the panda version of Kuma might be in canon a different character, but the moveset's the same.
Is this like VR though? Like, are you still what? The
VR,
kids are
VR.
seeing this, but they're still just adults driving around.
Maybe it's AR. Maybe it's like Sword Art Online ordinal scale.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what Sword Art is.
Did I tell you that recently I looked up just the two words ordinal scale because I couldn't remember what it related to?
You just knew that I'd said ordinal scale at some point. What
the hell would be named that? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Is that one of the games? Is that like Fatal Bullet or Bullet Ballet or whatever
it's called? Bullet.
Fatal. Yeah, that was the name of the game from season 2, or was it gun game?
Wait, hang on. Was it Fatal? What?
I feel like it was called Fatal Bullet, but I don't know because I barely watched the show at that point. So.
Yeah, I was right. Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet.
Cool, good job.
GameStop gives it a 4.4 out of 5.
Oh no, it was actually a real world game. It wasn't the name of the in-game game.
The only thing I know about it is I know the opening song for it because a friend was like, "Hey, listen to this." I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty good."
And you're like, "No, please, God, help me."
Please, no, God, no.
Ah.
Oh, not the bees.
New Saints Row. Do you have anything to say about New Saints Row, Joey?
Not really. I used to play Saints Row 3 with friends because it was a fun co-op game, and then we played 4, and it was fun in its own right, but not as fun. And there's going to be a new one, and I thought the team had completely disbanded or got melted down.
No, they've just been working on other stuff for the last several years.
I could have sworn there was something like around after 4. It was like there can't be another one because the team dissolved or something like that.
Oh, maybe that's, I don't know. I know. I mean, the studio still existed.
Okay.
And like there was still staff there, but maybe like the Saints Row team didn't exist. I don't know.
I don't really know. And I saw the trailer, and never once in the trailer did I think it was Saints Row. And then it said Saints Row. I was like, okay, but I'm not an expert. Maybe it harkens back to the earlier games, but because I don't know anything about those.
There is also, Joshua, a new Marvel game being made by Firaxis. Did he cut out, or does he just not?
Firaxis?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I didn't see the trailer. Joey said it was just cinematic.
It was just cinematic, and they were like, we got to wake up this coffin, and then not Ghost Rider was there, and then other people were opening it, then there's the big bad, and they're like, whoa, and then the coffin opens, and their girl comes out, and she's like,
this sounds great.
But for those who don't know, Firaxis is the team behind XCOM and Civilization, so I assume it's going to be some kind of tactical game.
Which blows my mind because nothing about the trailer implied that whatsoever.
Because, Joey, because the marketing people are like, people don't like tactics. You know what they like?
They like Marvel,
baby!
Marvel, baby. That's still one of the greatest videos on YouTube.
The trailer put me to sleep because I was like, oh, this just looks like another Marvel's Avengers movie trailer.
Yeah, I didn't catch that because I was still working. However, I did manage to catch the Halo Infinite multiplayer trailer, baby! Joshua, guess how much gameplay was in the Halo Infinite multiplayer trailer for the game that comes out in a month and a half?
It must have been like at least like 5 minutes, right? Like it couldn't have been any less than that.
Listen,
not one frame.
So the trailer is just like.
So how in this day and age do you get away with having a trailer that is specifically for the gameplay part of your gameplay and narrative-driven game? And not show gameplay.
Joey and I were talking. We're discussing.
Let me tell you exactly how. You have a Spartan girl talking to soldiers, and then having a flashback to when they were a kid and they got rescued by Spartans, and we're like, Spartans are so good. Spartans are so cool. Everybody wants to be a Spartan. Please buy Halo.
It's literally like, remember when you were 5 and Halo 3 came out?
The exact quote, because I was talking to you, Jacob. I was talking to you about Halo, like, in Halo Reach, it's like you are rescuing people as a Spartan, and they're basically spitting in your face because everybody hates Spartans, because they were invented to smash riots and break unions.
In universe, Spartans are CIA spooks, or CIA thugs and union breakers. Like, they're not humanity's saviors until Master Chief blows up the first Halo installation. And people don't like Spartans.
And the Spartan that is talking says to the people, "What is a Spartan? In times of darkness, we are hope." And then the music swells.
And it shows a flashback to her as a young person during the invasion of Earth in Halo 2 and 3 being saved by Spartans. I guess it wouldn't have been during the invasion of Earth because... Well, no, it shows Big Ben. It shows it shows Big Ben in the middle of future London. So yeah,
didn't they died?
It has to be Earth unless it's a replica, but that would be a weird detail to put in your trailer just to like confuse people. But it seems to be future London, and so that means this would have to be during the invasion of Earth, circa Halo 2. And there's like 5 Spartans alive at that point in the universe, and half of them are off doing novel crap, while Master Chief is the only one on Earth. So what the hell is happening in this trailer?
And anyway, and by the way, this is the multiplayer trailer. Right? This is supposed to be for multiplayer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't even really see but like 2 Spartans, and there's no implications of multiplayer because they're fighting the Covenant in the trailer. That is not multiplayer.
The girl who's being chased around by brutes in dark nighttime city circa Halo 2 time period is in the future as a Spartan, or at least it seems like it.
That's the implication.
Is basically saying, you guys, are you recruits ready to be Spartans? So I don't know if it's like supposed to be hyping you up to play multiplayer, or if there's like a story component to the multiplayer. Whether this is going to be like there's going to be like cutscenes involved in the multiplayer because that always works great when people do that crap.
It sure worked with Mass Effect 3, baby. Making some of the endings unobtainable unless you play multiplayer. That was a good idea.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Originally, because there was like a galactic rating system, and it's like you feasibly could not get it like high enough for certain endings unless you played multiplayer. But this is neither here nor there.
Anyway, so they show a trailer for the multiplayer for Halo Infinite, which is just a CG movie. And then they say, but wait, there's more. And they show an Xbox controller that looks like Master Chief.
And then
they say, but wait, there's even more.
Not only that, no. They say, this is the 20th anniversary of Halo, so this isn't all we're going to show, obviously. We have more Halo to show. And then they reveal the Halo Xbox.
That is to say, an Xbox console that is like, is colored like Halo, yeah.
That says Halo. It's like, woo, it says Halo.
And it's like, you showed nothing for the game that's coming out soon.
Dude, I'm...
Very soon, because the release date has been announced.
I'm terrified of that.
Of that game?
Yes.
Joey and I have been we're talking about, at this point, it might be a scam. It might not be a real video game.
They released the multiplayer beta, though, so
they did.
know.
But remember, like they said, there's going to be major overhauls after the feedback we got from that E3 gameplay, right? Yeah. We haven't seen any game. That was last E3, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yes.
That was. I don't think that single player gameplay of the open world stuff was this E3. I'm pretty sure that was last E3.
That was last E3 because
at this year's E3,
look at the graphics of the monkey.
At this year's E3, they showed multiplayer gameplay, so we haven't even seen footage of the campaign in over a year.
Also, that game is going to be weird. I think I may have gotten clickbaited, but I was seeing people talking about how they announced that the game was not going to have co-op when it first came out.
No, it's not going to have co-op or Forge. They announced specifically co-op, Forge, a handful of are gonna come later after launch.
Can't be.
Well, to be fair, I think 4 and 5 just didn't get local co-op ever. You could only play co-op online because they were so obsessed with hitting frame rate to show how good the Xbox One was that they didn't optimize it to work with local split screen, which of course is how many people have been playing Halo since the beginning for at that point 15 years.
The dawn of time.
So yeah, no, I believe they said that it's that there's not going to be co-op or Forge until season 2 or 3 of the multiplayer in their roadmap. To be completely fair, that's not the first time that Forge has gotten implemented later on.
Did they do that in 4?
I think 4 and 5 both had Forge a little bit late, and Reach did have Forge at launch, but it didn't have Forge World and a bunch of other features until after launch. Forge World was I want to say was patched in later.
It wasn't that much later.
It was shortly after launch, but I don't think it was on the disc. I could be mistaken. I know it was announced.
It was still before the end of the year, right? Though
I'm pretty sure. I know it was. I know it was announced really, really late, but it was announced I think before launch. It was announced with a Red versus Blue video actually.
Isn't this thing launching in a month?
They announced the release date today. It leaked.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it leaked a little bit early on the Xbox store. It's December something. I don't remember what.
Oh, it's December. Oh, no. You don't release something in December unless you know it's going to be screwed at launch.
Well, that's what in movie. Yeah, it's not always, but in movies, December release date is good. But for games, it's not.
No, you always release before Black Friday. That's the general rule of thumb. Everything releases in November. The only thing in recent memory that released in December was Cyberpunk.
I have Cyberpunk now, by the way.
Oh, yes, of course, something we needed to talk about. Joey bought Cyberpunk for PS4, Joshua.
Of course
Technically
he did.
PS5.
My roommate had it.
I take offense to that. I take offense to you saying, of course I did. It was $10 brand new on Best Buy's website, and I ordered it, and I think they thought it was cursed merchandise because they told me it was going to come in 2 business weeks, and it came 3 days later.
That's the future, baby.
Listen, I bought that $10 as a gamble investment on that the PS5 update version will be fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure the game's going to be fun regardless because I'm going into it with below expectations. I don't plan on playing it anytime soon, though. I've got other games to play. I've been playing Persona Strikers, and that game's a blast.
I saw that was on sale. I may have to get that as well. I don't have time to play it, but unless I see it's really cheap right now, so I may just get it and hold on to it for later.
It's very fun.
It's very good.
It's very fun, and it taught me that I suck at Musos. Uh-oh.
Josh dropped out. He'll be back, I'm sure. Joey, have you ever physically played Monkey Ball?
Dude, Monkey Ball is so fun for 5 minutes until you get ready to throw your GameCube out the TV.
Oh boy, we have some fans who are going to be very upset at you for saying that. I know we have a couple of dedicated Monkey Ball fans in the audience.
I'm not saying because it's bad. I'm saying you start Monkey Ball.
Mad? You're saying you're mad. Yeah, you're bad, not the games.
I'm bad.
Mad because bad.
No. Monkey Ball is great. I'm saying the Monkey Ball experience is, oh man, this is so fun. Look at the monkeys. Look at the ball. I'm having a good time. Which turns into, this is bullcrap. God, what do you mean? No! How am I supposed to get over there? What do you mean the world record for this stage is 3 seconds?
But there hasn't, the last Monkey Ball game was I think on Wii U, and it got ported to Switch.
It got ported to Switch.
But it got completely messed up. Because it's I think they removed gyro controls or something.
So what happened was they removed gyro controls for the Switch version of it because, I mean, whatever, I get it kind of. But the problem is they did not fixed the sensitivity. You were at like max sensitivity the whole time, so precise movement was really tough. On top of that, they edited most levels to be more difficult.
I was about to say they changed most of the level. Like they removed guardrails in sections, right?
There is a section that, like, it is originally it's supposed to be pretty easy because there is just large portions that are just supposed to be basically cinematic where you're on a guardrail. They removed the guardrails,
and now something that was just like transition time is now you must be gaming.
It's like I'm glad I did not play that Monkey Ball. I'm looking forward to this Monkey Ball.
Hopefully it'll be good. You can play as Morgana in this Monkey Ball.
Yeah, you can play as Kiryu as well.
You can play as all kinds of people.
Yeah, it kind of slapped me weird because I had been playing Persona 5 Strikers, like I said, and all of a sudden I saw the Phantom Thieves logo appear. I was like, what? This is odd timing.
How far are you into Strikers, just out of curiosity? Like, how many dungeons have you gotten through?
I think I'm on the 4th.
Okay, just curious. I don't know them all in order, but I have a vague idea of what some of them are, so I thought I'd ask.
I'm on the weird one now.
The weird one? I don't know what that means.
The weird one. I'm on the one that doesn't behave like the other ones.
They did show Splitgate. They didn't say like 1.0 launch. They just said Season 0 is starting.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like still pre-launch?
I hope not, but I don't know. It's kind of... It is weird, like you said.
It means it's pre-1.0. They're not going to bring it up to 1.0 yet, but...
technically they did, like, the official patch notes, like, it is past 1.0, but they're still not considering it launched. Because they had the 1.0 patch already ready before they suddenly got, several million downloads in a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And had to go, well, maybe we're not launching the game just yet. But they still implemented the patch.
Yeah, and I was telling you that I am just incredible at video games, because I was playing this yesterday, and I won 3 gun games in a row. Not only did I win 3 gun games in a row, but I was playing with one of my friends because he was trying to get the beta battle pass maxed out, and all 3 of those games he was in second place. All 3 of those games he got to the last gun before I did, and I stole it from him. There was also one game where I was like 5 guns behind him, and then I demoted him, and then I won.
That's my favorite. That's the best.
He was about to blow my brains out.
Whenever you whack somebody who's about to win in a game like Gun Game and take them back.
It's so easy, too, in this one, since you have to punch twice, because they punch you once while you're shooting them, and then you just melee.
And you just hit them again, yeah. Anyway, so Josh, I assume that it wasn't just, I assume you have to pay big bucks to show up at the main stage of Gamescom or whatever, but as we know, the Splitgate guys got a pretty big cash infusion from a venture capital firm. So now that they actually have the game up and running, and they have, by the way, latest numbers as of a couple of days ago, they have over 10 million downloads now.
Oh boy, good for them.
Absolutely, yeah. Well deserved.
Yeah, game is a blast, and I've sucked about 4 or 5 people into it.
And so now they're actually pushing their marketing a bit. I've seen commercials for it on the YouTube, and decent number of people watch these streams, so
less than a minute queue time every time I've gotten on now.
Yeah, hopefully people will go check it out. There was a world premiere, as we were joking before, for Riders Republic, a game we've seen. Then I think Elden Ring, a game which is not released, won an award.
Did it?
It was one of the games that was nominated for like best upcoming PlayStation game or whatever.
Yeah, and Halo Infinite won one of these fake awards.
There were several, like, we're giving away awards for best PlayStation game of 2021, best PC game of 2021, best Xbox game of 2021. It's like they were all games that aren't out. What are you talking about? You can even do your the most anticipated game category is already like
easy. It's just most anticipated game. Give it to the biggest game coming up.
Yeah, most anticipated game award is already like so self-indulgent.
This might as well have been like game teaser, best game teaser.
Anyway, by the way, Josh, in the montage of PC games, they did show Humankind. I'm looking at it right now.
What is Humankind?
Humankind is new Civ, because people didn't like Civ 6 very much, and they're not going to make another one probably for a long time.
Okay.
So it's fine now, but it took 2 DLCs that are still $40 and a season pass. Oof. That is still a subscription service that's still $60.
When you can get 5 or 4, which are both probably just better even in their base permutations, for like what?
No, 5 base is pretty bad.
5 base? Okay, never mind.
They're showing off the Game Pass stuff, and it showed Halo Infinite multiplayer, but Halo Infinite multiplayer is already going to be free. Anyway.
Yeah.
True. You make a good point. Josh, what?
Dude, I'm gonna download that for like a day and hate it, and then just undownload.
And then just play Splitgate.
Yeah, exactly.
Joshua? What does Civ 5 with Brave New World cost?
When on sale, less than $40.
Okay. So
I want to say Civ 5 complete, not on sale, is $40.
And so to get Civ 6 good, it's like what, 120?
Let me crunch. I'll crunch some numbers.
Crunch some numbers.
I'm hopping on Steam. We're gonna make this.
Yeah,
happen.
go right ahead.
Every time I see a trailer for Slime Rancher, I'm like, I don't know anything about this game, but I want to play it.
I was looking. I think we might have seen this during
Replaced.
Yeah, during like the Xbox event at E3.
Yeah,
or
this was not the first time that you.
Yeah, I didn't really process it, but I earlier I was like, hold on a second. And I went and watched the full trailer for it again, and I was like, this is my new.
I forgot they took all of the freaking They took almost all of the Civ 5 stuff off of the Steam store. Like, you have to go find it in, like, sub-channels.
Direct links.
Great.
Nice. I remember you saying that.
Like Skyrim.
I thought I remembered you saying that, but then when you didn't bring it up, I was like, I guess I imagined that.
Oh, Skyrim.
Todd.
Oh.
Josh, are you ready to buy Skyrim for the 17th time?
Boss, I'm tired.
But you can fish now, bro.
You can fish now.
You know,
Yoda can fight, bro.
The best part about this is, like, you can already say it's lazy for them to just keep re-releasing. This is the laziest yet, because all of the new editions are just content other people have made. Because when you look at the anniversary edition, or whatever the hell it's called, it says, like, you know, now at 500, what is the crap, their own Nexus, what's it called? The game creation kit or whatever?
Their mods. Their branded mods TM. Bethesda mods TM.
The mods that other people made, and then they were like, okay, we will compensate you, and we're putting it in our store. It's like, and now the game has all those, so they didn't have to do anything for this edition. They didn't have to do anything. It's all content other people have made. And they're going to be charging $60.
1 second, Joshua. Joey's mad. Give him a moment.
I saw a picture recently where it was like, do you feel old yet? And it was like Skyrim. It's like, this game released 10 years ago, and 8 years ago, and 5 years ago, and 3 years ago. It's like, God! Todd! You can't keep getting away with this.
Oh, boy.
I just looked. Civ 5 Complete is under $50. With all DLCs, all map packs, all everything. You can get Civ 6 Platinum Edition for $78.
Platinum Edition? I didn't know this was made by Ubisoft.
Yeah, I know, right? And it doesn't even come with the majority of the civilizations, which have to be purchased through the Season Pass, which is, I think, $40.
I see.
The New Frontier Pass, or whatever the hell they call it.
Gotcha.
So it's like 45 to 100.
Yeah, I will say, because
120.
just because we were making fun of Bethesda and Todd. For a split second, I got super excited because Guerrilla Interactive's logo came up, it was for Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. For a moment, my brain skipped, and I thought it was Machine Games' logo, and I thought we were going to see the Indiana Jones game they're working on. Which is the only thing Bethesda's doing right now that I'm vaguely interested in, other than Deathloop, I guess.
Deathloop doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count.
Because it's not Xbox Bethesda, which is good Bethesda.
Well,
right, gamers.
Right, gamers.
No, Bethesda's bad most of the time, regardless of platform loyalty or exclusivity.
I'm sad we didn't see a Bethesda jerk-off fest video again, where they're like, our employees love working here. We've changed their lives.
It's a really good thing.
I just love seeing their office. It's so great. Seeing freaking fly around shots of their office.
Yeah. They probably couldn't because they're all working from home. That's probably the only reason they didn't do that this year.
Probably.
They couldn't film that.
Oh.
They probably would have somehow shoved it into the X. They would have said, "Can we please put our studio thing into the Xbox?"
Into our workers' houses against their permission to record them working at
We've been
home.
filming their webcams while they've been working, and here's some of the candids we've caught at home of things that our employees have been up to over the last 6 months. Wait, what?
You just see, is it just
all of them playing
miscellaneous
Skyrim.
clips, and then one of them is somebody like sobbing on their desk. It's like, that's a joke, everybody. We're putting it on live stream to punish them.
Something that's been because I've talked a lot about like Square's handling of like retro looking games and stuff, like how I really don't like how the 2D HD games look. Yeah. And we talked at some length during the E3 discussion about that not Suikoden game.
Yeah.
And how it's like, oh look, it's just like the Octopath / Triangle Strategy visual style, except like not terrible. Mm-hmm. It's like one thing that a response that I get on... I honestly, I haven't even seen this argument, which is weird to me, because you would think I would have gotten it since I did a video where I talked about how I don't like the art style of those 2D HD games very much. And I would think, like, this to me is the most valid argument, which is that, like, okay, sure, like, things like Owlboy and Hyper Light Drifter, like, very neat, but they're not, like, they're very high-quality pixel art games, but they're not pushing the boundaries of what can be imagined, right? Like, they're not really innovative, they're just really high quality. And you can make an argument, a fair one, that 2D HD is really pushing what those types of games can look like with its lighting, with its kind of like reflective surfaces and stuff like that. And I can see that. And then I see this trailer for Replaced, which I'll probably put instead of this like brief chopped up bit for Game Pass. I'll probably put like the actual like trailer in during the edit. Like, this is the most incredible looking pixel art game I've ever seen. Like, some things are in 3D, but a lot of things aren't. They're just, the illusion is created through like clever lighting and camera work, and it's just phenomenal looking, this game.
Incredible.
It's like it. What did you say, Josh?
You have lost.
Yeah.
I said no.
No,
you're
yes.
wrong.
No, you have lost. Yes.
Yeah, and you're wrong. Jacob, if it have more lens flare, game better.
No, Joshua, watch the trailer for Replaced. There is so much lens flare. There's so much lens flare, dude.
Well, then that mean it better.
I know. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just better at everything that the 2D HD games are trying to do.
No, we saw brief Starfield
Me have
again
Kylo
just
Ren
in the
shield.
trailers.
Me have Kylo Ren shield. You know work. Me have Kylo Ren shield. I watched that for the first time in a couple of years, like a week or two ago, because we mentioned it.
I did the same thing.
We mentioned it in another video, and someone said, "What is that?" And I had to give him a link, and I was like, "I may as well watch this again." The fake trailer analysis thing that Red Letter Media did before Force Awakens release, just making fun. Like it's one of my favorite like hype culture takedown things ever.
Tell us what happens in the movie.
Come on, JJ. Tell us what happens in the movie. Wait, shut up. A new trailer with 5 seconds of footage was just released. Oh my god. Oh, So a trailer started, Joshua, during this, and I was like, what is this? And then I saw a jersey, and I saw cleats, and I went, ooh, football, FIFA, right?
It's gonna be Madden Ball.
It's not FIFA. It's UFL, which is an Unreal 4 or 5 free-to-play football game. And it even says, not only just free-to-play, it literally says after free-to-play, it flips over and says fair-to-play. And there's an interview with the developer afterwards who's like, hey guys, he basically is subtweeting...
Is this soccer or football? I need to know if I need to care.
It's soccer.
Okay, that doesn't matter.
But the point is, he's like directly subtweeting, like, so, whatever that, it's like subtweeting or subposting or whatever. He basically says, hey guys, we really love playing soccer video games, and we love playing soccer video games when they don't have any bullshit, and you don't have to pay a lot of money on nonsense, and it's just like a fun soccer game that you can just play, and it's just like a good game.
Because I saw soccer cleats, and I was like, I started rolling my eyes.
Because FIFA.
But then he started talking, and was like, oh, hang on, the competition?
This is FIFA? Someone making not FIFA?
Incredible.
That's successful, then they'll make not Madden.
I want this game to succeed now.
Well, these guys won't make not Madden because they're Europeans, but...
Well, that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll inspire people over here to make not Madden if the game's good.
Probably not!
Probably not.
We'll see.
It's going to
be a shame when EA sends Colombian hit squads after the team that made this game.
Yeah, I think that Electronic Arts... Sorry, I think that Europeans are much more fed up with both FIFA as an overall, like, brand identity and with FIFA video games than Americans are with the NFL.
Don't know about that one, Chief.
I don't know. People really hate FIFA, Josh.
People really hate Madden, too. Have you seen the last two user meta scores for Madden?
It's true. They still buy it. But it also, like, there's not as much resentment for the NFL as an organization in the States, I think, than there is for the... I'm not even saying the video games. I mean, like, large scale. I know that we always get up and we boo the commissioner. We always boo Goodell whenever he shows up. But people tolerate a lot of crap. I don't know if you know this, Joey, because you're not a football guy.
I'm not.
Whenever the NFL draft gets broadcast, right? Because they do a big because what else are we going to broadcast on ESPN? We do the draft on TV, right? So whenever the commissioner of the NFL comes out, everyone boos him.
Good.
Everyone boos him in their homes. They boo him in the event. During last year, when it was all done remotely from home, they live fed footage of people at home booing him. And he just takes it in stride and he smiles because he's just a tremendous asshole. Because now it's just part of the show. Anyway, so Joshua, that Lego Star Wars The Complete Skywalker Saga game that they've been trying to make for feels like 6 years at this point is finally coming out.
World premiere. Is this one actually a world premiere?
This is the first gameplay we've seen of this, I think, in like 2 years.
I'm just mad that there's going to be voice acting. Ever since Lego made voice acting in their games, they've been ruined forever.
There's been voice acting for quite some time now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm with
been ruined
you,
forever.
but I feel like a boomer when I say it.
I don't know.
I haven't given it a fair shot, so I don't know if it sucks.
I feel
or if
like
perceived that it will suck.
I will say this game is clearly like sound-alikes, but the Force Awakens game they did when Force Awakens came out was just the cast of the movie. And hearing Harrison Ford have to read lines like, "Before we leave, we should get some Wookiee cookies for Chewie," is like worth every penny. But honestly, like, I mean, there's certain points where like you run out of jokes to tell, and especially with Lego Star Wars, where the ground has been tread so much, you can't do certain jokes that with just them talking like they're from. I was about to make a joke that I'm not going to make. But
I know the joke you were about to make.
Anyway,
it's a funny joke.
But like you can't do jokes like, "How did my father die?" Eee, ooh. Because there's a bit in this where it shows Luke asking. It was also funny because there's literally he's looking at photos, like Ben's old photos of the Clone Wars, and it's like it's Obi-Wan and Cody drinking together, and he goes, "How did my father die?" And it cuts to Obi-Wan going, "Eee, ooh, ooh."
Well, as long as it's still funny, I guess that's all that matters.
He comes back as a robot.
You think you should kill a guy?
Second time
Boy, I'm watching. This is the first time I'm seeing this gameplay. Boy, this is not the Lego Star Wars I remember.
Yeah, they put. Well, to be fair, this is the thing, right? Like, so there's like Joey's reacting to the fact that there is like actual like third person aiming for shoot bangs now instead of just like the general directional auto aim and like pre-positioned camera. And Joey, you're forgetting that we played Lego Star Wars in what 2000 in 2003
on my original Xbox.
Yeah, you're right, because the first one was when Revenge of the Sith came out, and that was 2004, 2005, right? So it's like
2005.
That Joey was in an era where we were only 5 years away from people figuring out we can use the left analog stick for camera in console games. This game is going to be played by kids who have been playing Fortnite for the last 5 years.
Yeah, you're right.
It is very. I don't know. I'm not even saying that like it's like a derogatory.
It's like Nintendo. It's like Nintendo making Skyward Sword and being like, kids don't know how to move a camera, and they see gameplay of Fortnite. I mean, not Fortnite. Sorry, of Minecraft, and they're like, wait, what?
Oops.
And they put and then
they make Breath of the Wild. They put Breath of the Wild a real video game. They make Splatoon. They're like, oh wait a second, kids can play video games now.
God, do you remember the absolute classic? The review for one of the old Aliens games where it was like before dual analog controls were really big, like that game had it, and they were like and it was I don't even remember if it was IGN or GameSpot or who it was. It was in a magazine, and they were just like, the most terrifying part of this horror game is the control scheme. It's like you move with the left analog stick and you aim up and down and right with the right analog stick. It's like there's no way this is going to catch on. It's just so complicated. It's like you can't. It's like, oh man,
you can't make that stuff up. Can't make that stuff up. But yeah,
the review for what?
For an old Aliens and Marines game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's like a circa 99 or 2000. I know the one you're talking about. It's like a circa 99 or 2000 like first person shooter. I think it was a game where it was like 3 campaigns, one where you played as a Marine, one where you played as a Xenomorph, and one where you played as a Predator. I think.
Maybe.
I know there was a game like that, and I think that's the review that you're referring to, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway,
it's being shown on screen right now. Oh,
Lego Star Wars coming out spring next year. Still doesn't have a release date. That was announced like a year before the Rise of Skyfall, which came out in
Skyman.
That was like winter 2019. So that's been a while in development. But to be fair, I don't know if you've seen footage of this, Josh. They talked about it, like that it has like a very open structure. There's a bit where Luke in Dagobah pulls out a little hollow projector thingy, which is pretty cute because it's a little white stud and then a transparent blue stud on top of it. And it pulls up a galaxy map, and there are like 20 planets to pick from. Let's see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 question mark planets on the map, as shown in the trailer. Then we got Octo, Kefbur, I don't know those. Endor, Bespin, Hoth, Utapau, which is like the sinkhole planet from episode 3, I think. Dagobah, Crate.
That's where General Grievous was like,
Dakar, which I think is where Maz Katana has her magical cantina.
Correct. That is correct.
Naboo, Geonosis, Tatooine, Camino, Pasana, which I want to say is the desert planet from the beginning of Skyman.
That's correct.
Kashyyyk, Kijimi, never heard of that one.
Kijimi.
Katonica? Never heard of that one. Yavin 4 and Ajan Kloss? You know any of these, Joshua?
Kloss is...
No.
Kloss.
Why would I know these?
I don't know.
Kloss is in the shooter game that was free.
Battlefront?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Maybe. Just the reason I asked you is because I thought maybe it'd be like from KOTOR or something, and I always forget the names of the planets from KOTOR. That's the only reason I asked you. They won't
put anything from KOTOR in because KOTOR is interesting.
I'm just saying,
the new canon hates interesting.
You know like 5 more planets than I do because you know the KOTOR planets. That's the only reason I asked.
Planets and more planets.
God. I was talking to Joey about that Visions trailer, and I was talking about there's the one that Trigger's doing where it's like the Inquisitor sister versus the Jedi brother, and it's like, you know, that Inquisitor business, like those stuff that they've added to the in-between between 3 and 4 is honestly more interesting than any of the old EU stuff between 3 and 4.
I really like that stuff. I mean, it's part of the reason I like Falling Man.
Yeah,
so because Rebels sucked.
Yeah, I don't care for
the Inquisitors was really cool. So
I don't care for Rebels as a show, but its ideas are so much more interesting than like the Force Unleashed, which was the previous, like, this is the unofficial episode 7 bridging the gap between 3 and 4, which is so embarrassing. Have you ever played Force Unleashed, Joey?
I've only seen some images.
We might have to do that sometime.
That would be hilarious.
It's great.
That would be a stream game.
It's not a bad game. It's just a very funny game.
Okay.
But anyway,
Very goofy.
So, we shall see.
You know what is a bad game? Force Unleashed 2, maybe.
They made another one?
Did you just say the Force Unleashed is a pretty funny game? You know what is a bad game, though? The Force Unleashed?
2.
Oh, 2.
2. Big fat number 2.
I don't know. Force Unleashed 2 does bring us, your feelings for her are not real. They're real to me!
That line is so stupid. I love it.
It's honestly, it justifies the game's existence, even though it's literally 4 levels, and the 4th level is the first level played backwards.
Like, honestly,
that doesn't sound. How long's the game?
It's like
2 hours.
It's like 5 hours.
Ooh.
Let's see. How long to beat Force Unleashed 2?
That seems incorrect.
15 to 20 hours. No way.
That's a lie. How dare they lie to us?
There we go. Force Unleashed 2, how long to beat? 5 hours, 7.5 hours from main plus extras.
That was the website for getting achievements.
Got it. Okay, my
15 to
mistake.
20 to get all the achievements.
20 to get all the achievements. 5 hours to beat. 7.5 for main
2
plus
playthroughs
extras.
because you have to do dark and light.
Yeah, and then completion is 12 hours. Well, the achievements is probably factoring in DLC. Because the game did have a substantial amount of DLC.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Good old Jorge loved the DLC model back then.
Well, The Force Unleashed 2 was like the last real game that LucasArts released.
Oh, I know.
That was like the death toll. That was released very quickly. It had I think less than 6 months of dev time. Just fart this out.
No.
If we slap Star Wars on it, it'll make money. squeeze out some. It was sold for $60, I'm pretty sure, and then they had multiple DLC packs. And it was just like that was it.
Like the Force Unleashed 1, like sure it was kind of mediocre, but it was like
it was a fine game.
Fine game.
It was very impressive at the time. It was the first thing I saw. It was going back to it now. It's pretty awkward, but it was the first thing I saw that was like that heavily promoted. Like we did facial capture on all of our actors to get their performances in here. It made like it was the first game that was like, okay, we don't just have the Havoc physics engine. We are going to show off the Havoc physics engine. There was another LucasArts game shortly after that was also desperate to show off the Havoc physics engine. It was called Fractured, I think. It was a shooter.
Jacob, you're thinking of Sonic 06.
No. It was a shooter called Fractured where you had terrain control grenades that could create sinkholes or cause walls to raise up. So you could like toss a grenade at enemies and drop them down into a hole and then shoot them. You could throw a grenade to like earthbend a big pillar up underneath them and throw them into the air. You could create cover for yourself.
Why do I not remember this?
Because nobody remembers it because it was a piece of shit. But but it was existed and it was a neat concept. I believe it was called Fractured at least. No, not 2019 film.
Video game.
Generic name for anything I've ever heard. Fractured.
Fractured's pretty generic.
Is this it? Yeah, Fractured.
Oh, I remember.
Published by LucasArts, developed by Day One Studios.
I remember the image. I remember the box art.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was also like rising water levels caused by global warming. I remember the marketing had like a map of the U.S. that was like, you know, very encroached upon by water and lots of extra rivers and sections of the country flooded and stuff. I don't know how that factored into the plot. Maybe that was like the theming of like, we're going to do a game about terrain deformation, so we're going to do it after global warming has destroyed a bunch of the country, and it's made... I have no idea. I don't know anything about this game. I watched like one trailer for it back in the day, and I was like, that looks like neat tech, but even at the time, I was like, it looks like it plays like crap.
Throw 10,000 grenades to save America.
Lift the land back out of the water!
Exactly!
Fractured's unique selling point was its deformable terrain. The player has futuristic weapons both in the form of guns and grenades which can raise or lower the terrain. The ability allows the player to create cover, jump to areas not normally reachable, and launch enemies into the air and into ceilings. Examples are the Entrencher, the Tectonic Grenade, and the Subsonic Grenade. Players can collect data cells to unlock a weapon testing facility and weapons within it. Notably, the game requires puzzle solving using terrain deformation. Well, you know what? I'll give it points for that. How many shooters have you played in the last 20 years that actually tried?
Immediately after, Metacritic score 62 out of 100.
Woohoo!
Oh, but that's on PS3. 63
on 360.
On 360, so a little bit.
A lot of games, most multi-platform games ran better on 360 than they did on PS3.
Yeah.
Because even though the PS3 is more powerful, Sony were a bunch of assholes. They said, we're going to stick that cell processor in there and just make it 10 times harder to program for.
Yep.
Anyway, that was a long tangent.
Jacob.
Yeah?
Back to what matters.
People will work 2 jobs so that they can have one.
It's true. Ken Kutaragi said, our objective with the PlayStation 3 was to design a system that will make people say, I will work 2 jobs to be able to afford one. That's a real quote from the man, the myth, the legend, Ken Kutaragi.
He knew what he was doing.
What a hero. Anyway.
And then, I guess this is another Outlast game.
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know. I didn't see this bit.
It's got the word Outlast in the title.
Oh, well, then I guess it's another Outlast game, probably. When was the last Outlast?
Was it not? Did they come out with... Wait, was it 2?
I feel like Outlast 2... I don't think there's been another one since that, and that was like... I feel like that was like 7 years ago or something.
It wasn't that long, because there was Whistleblower, which was not... It was like 1.5.
The Outlast Trials... Is that like... I want that to be a crossover between Outlast and the Trials series. You have to drive a motorbike through perilous through
giant angry naked men are chasing you.
You have to drive them through Jigsaw's traps.
Sounds like a great game.
That would be. I think that's a $1 million idea. I think we should make that game.
I think somebody should make that game and then give us royalties for coming up with the idea.
I think we could probably make something like that in like Dreams. Man.
I give out ideas and we just let everybody else handle it.
I feel like you could make a decent Trials clone in like Dreams or something, and then you just have to make large naked
Trials
men.
itself was a Flash game, so yeah,
Exactly.
we could probably make
a really basic Trials game where you have a time limit in that angry naked men are chasing you and trying to kill you.
Dude, you could have an infinite running game mode, like an infinite runner level too. Like, oh man,
This is $1 million idea, dude. Just like Jurassic World.
This is how we're gonna hit big.
I say that because we're looking at footage of Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I'm going to skip past, as well as footage of Far Cry 6.
You know what's the $1 billion idea?
What's the $1 billion idea?
Ghost aliens.
They already had that in Ratchet and Clank, I think.
No, as a movie though.
You mean
it's going to be a part of the Ghostbusters universe.
Oh, I thought you were doing a joke about Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, but
no,
that's
I was
fine
doing
too.
a Paul Feig
Yes,
joke.
you were doing the Paul Feig email about, I see a cinematic universe of funny ladies fighting aliens, including extraterrestrials. Yes, ghost aliens.
Oh, baby.
Correct.
Yeah,
That
I
was
got you.
just
I
grasping
think
at
it's small-minded
straws.
to think that there are only human ghosts.
It's true. Why wouldn't there be ghosts on other planets? If there's ghosts here, why wouldn't there be ghosts on other places?
No, but Paul Feig doesn't realize that the movie already got made. It was called Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the.
I don't care what anyone
vampire
says. That's one of the
thing
best
that they just
sci-fi
showed.
movies ever made. See what I did there? It was like a Life is
Good.
Strange.
You
reference.
skipped past the very. I don't use this word loosely, but the very cringy trailer for the amusement park.
Yeah, so
game.
so I thought it was like maybe be like a Planet Coaster sequel, and I was interested, but it's another Roller Coaster Tycoon type game, and I think to myself, oh sweet, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Joshua, do you remember Legoland, like the video game for Legoland?
Great.
Do you remember like how it had like cutscenes in it, where like you talk with like the staff who run the park and stuff like that?
And they would find like magic artifacts that let them build new things.
Yeah, and so like
it was sick.
Yeah, it was cute. It was funny, right? There's a trailer that's like for like a theme park building game that has cutscenes that are creepier and more awkward than the cutscenes from the Legoland children's video game for PC from like 2002.
And it's constantly. The
I
music
really
is
want to.
constantly
I really want to
swelling,
get like DOSBox
and they
and
constantly talk about. It's like the park will be saved with your creativity. Only you are the one who can do
that's always
this.
funny.
So that's like, so Joey, Legoland works the same way, where you are being addressed by the characters and they're like, I hope you can help us fix things around here, right? And it's less cringy and cloying than this game.
What does she say? She says something cringy. She says something cringy. Turn the volume on. What was it? I remember.
I don't know. I stopped watching when she showed up because I was like, I'm not paying attention
Drops
anymore.
with enough G's to make you giddy. Thrilling bursts of speed. Is this even possible?
Does it matter?
Impossification!
There you go.
Impossification?
Impossification.
Okay, cool. Great. And
It's
then the
cringe, bro. You posted cringe. All the hoes are leaving the party now.
Anyway, yes, it was so cringe that me, a roller coaster tycoon and theme park enthusiast, Joshua, stopped watching midway through. That's how bad it was.
Now looking at screenshots of Legoland, and I want to go play Legoland.
Do it.
I discovered something interesting when I was getting music from like Alpha.
Log flume. Log flume.
I discovered something
Log
interesting
flume.
when I was getting footage from rather music from like Alpha Team and Lego Island and like some of the Bionicle games and stuff. That like there's really only one track in Legoland other than the cutscenes, like the main theme. I discovered I was listening to like the track that was uploaded to YouTube. And it was like this. I don't remember these parts of it, Joshua. There was a glitch in every copy of Legoland that caused its like 10-minute long theme to loop at the 5-minute mark.
Oh my gosh.
I just got used to it as a kid, or I muted the game and it didn't matter.
Yeah, I always just assumed it was a 5-minute loop.
It was just.
That's incredible.
It was before it could be patched, man. I remember listening to it and recording it. It's like, so I had
His name. It was Jonathan Ablebody. And Professor Voltage. And Bob Longtree was the gardener. I remember that.
Yeah, so all the different like staff members have little characters in that
JK.
game, and you and like
They're all incredibly British. And it's
yeah, they were all British. It was just like it was ripping off Xenoblade 2, obviously.
Of course.
I don't know if you've seen
definitely.
these posts, Joshua. People accusing Final Fantasy 16 of ripping off Xenoblade because they have British actors.
What a
Wait,
bold
what?
idea.
Because they said, remember, Josh, we talked about how, like, we talked about it on the last show, and I've talked about it with you, about how, like, they are focusing on, like, they're recording it in English first, and they're using British actors, and it's British English.
Yeah.
So people are saying they're just ripping off Xenoblade.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Because as we know, Xenoblade invented Great Britain.
Yes, it did.
and medieval fantasy.
Wait a second. Didn't half the cast of Final Fantasy XII speak in a British accent?
Yes.
Oh.
Nobody
Oops.
remembers that one though. Don't worry.
Over half, honestly.
What is this? New World?
This is the Amazon Games, Joey. They're finally going to ship a game, dude.
What is this game?
I don't know, because it's by Amazon Games, and I don't give a crap, because I'm sure it will be offline within a month, because I'm sure it's probably a multiplayer game of some kind. At this point, I think Amazon Games has canceled like 20 games and shipped 0.5 games.
I was waiting for Skull and Crossbones to show up.
Skull and Crossbones will never release, but it will also never be canceled.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. Sorry.
Wait, are you kidding me?
What?
Lego Island 2: The Brickster's Revenge only has a 55% on game rankings.
I know! It's a travesty. We need to
That
change
is a
it.
travesty. We have to kill everyone involved with that ranking.
You just have to hack the rankings, make a bunch of fake accounts, and give it
Hack
10s
the
out of 10.
planet.
We'll hack that Gibson together.
I don't know what this game is. Wait. I really don't know what this game is now. Because it looked like I didn't see magic and stuff, and then all of a sudden they introduced magic and stuff.
Anyway, it looks like it's some kind of multiplayer game where you quest with your friends, which means it'll be a live services game, which means it will guaranteed have no players and be offline by spring to fall of next year. This is, I believe, the first major product launch that that Amazon Games has managed, and
Is it gonna be an MMO?
I think it's an MMO or something. I really don't know, dude, because I haven't paid any attention to it because I don't care, because I'll pay attention if it's successful. Until then, I am not polluting my brain with knowledge of a game that I am confident will fail.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why does everyone always talk about GTA 3 revolutionized the industry when Lego Island 2 came out 2 years earlier?
Listen, it's my same argument about how.
I mean, Lego Island even was also an open world game, and it was several years before. I know, dude.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Lego
Joey.
Island
No, I was
2,
just saying,
though.
this is just another side of the coin of my argument
I'm
about everybody calls
kidding.
it
I
the
think
Naruto
GTA
run,
3
but
actually
Sonic did
came
it
out
first.
before it.
Go ahead. What are you saying? Joey?
No, Lego Island 2 beat it by 6 months.
Go ahead, Joey.
No, I was just saying it's the other side of the coin of the Naruto run, because everybody calls it the Naruto run, but Sonic did it before Naruto did.
Didn't Goku do it before Sonic did,
Shut
though?
up. We're not talking about him.
Yeah, Marvel got played twice because they also showed a mobile phone game that I'm skipping over.
Does Goku ever Naruto Sonic run?
I'm saying I feel like I saw somebody say that he did that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Lindsay Sterling put out another stellar performance because she's very good at what she does.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was Lindsay Sterling. Lindsay Sterling is on stage
look at
doing
her. She's
violin
kicking ass.
in cosplay for the
Tales
Tales
of
series.
Arise. Yeah.
And then they showed a new mobile phone game to celebrate the Tales 25th anniversary. That's what I want for my anniversaries is mobile phone trash.
Oh,
To be fair, it looks like it may be a gacha game,
If
but
you want, on the 10th anniversary of your channel, I can make a shovelware mobile game.
Hell yeah.
I think that'd be a
It'll
great
cost
idea.
$99.
That's what I strive for.
It's unclear from the trailer for this game, which I only looked at. It's only 5 seconds long. It's unclear if it's a crappy gacha game or if it's an actual game, but just a phone game.
If it's not gotcha, I'll chew one of my toes. There's
I
no
said
way
something
it's
another game
not.
where I was like, if it's not this, I'll eat my hat. I don't remember what it was. Josh, do you remember what I said? I said something about if that
You're
does.
cutting out. What did you say?
I said something to you a few days ago about I don't know for sure that if it's this, but if it is this, I'll eat my hat or I'll eat my shoes or something. Do you remember what it was that I was so confident about?
They showed.
See if it's in our text.
I'll check. And then they showed a brief trailer for Tales of Arise.
No, I was gonna say the trailer for the mobile game. It had it was showing the game's release years, so that leads me to believe
Probably
it's
be
gonna
content from across the series.
So, which means it's gonna be a gotcha game.
Probably.
I don't know anything about Tales of Arise, but Jake's played the demo, has been looking into it, and he's really excited for it. So hey, cool.
I've heard good things about Scarlet Nexus, which is, I believe, it's the same
Yeah.
team, but it's sci-fi.
I found it, Jacob.
Oh, well, never mind. We can't talk about this because it's related to Call of Duty, which
Yeah.
had footage
Yeah.
today. And we were talking about beforehand, we have lots of things, Joshua and I especially, have a lot to say about this new Call of Duty game. But we won't say any of it because it's being published by Activision, and we're still not talking about Activision Blizzard for a while longer.
Yeah, screw Activision.
Moving on.
The only thing we'll say is how it's very interesting how the Activision logo and brand name is nowhere to be found in any of these Call of Duty
you are
trailers.
going to have to put a screenshot of what you showed me because there is a gap
There's a gap in the logos where it looks like the Activision logo should be, and it's not there. Because they are trying desperately to distance this game from the Troubles. But as long as we are on the air, we will not allow it to be distanced from the Troubles. Joshua and I will have a discussion about it some other day, maybe closer to release when it's already made $1 million and it doesn't matter anymore. For now, we will give the spotlight to other things.
Yeah, I saw somebody from Ubisoft.
Speaking of other things, are we immediately going to segue this into our full play of Force Unleashed?
No.
Why not?
Lost Judgment.
So you guys know what the deal is with the Lost Judgment franchise?
No.
There's not going to be another game. Do you want to know why?
Is it drugs?
No.
No?
No, it does have to do with the actor and his agency, though.
Uh-oh, what happened?
So,
So,
Sega finally started putting games on Steam. Guess what happened?
what?
Made a shit ton of money,
Wow, really?
right? So now they decided, maybe we should put games on Steam. Oh, you back? Misa back!
Okay, so an ad rolled on an internet page I went to, and that made my freaking Discord die.
Very
Cool.
good.
Anyway, Lost Judgment, Joshua, the sequel to Judgment from the developers of the Yakuza games, right?
Yeah,
All right. Sega has started putting their games on Steam finally and on PC, and they made a lot of money doing that, right?
yeah.
Okay, so now they've realized, maybe instead of just putting old games on Steam, like Persona 4 Golden, we could put new games on Steam and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
They put Persona 5 Strikers on Steam, they put some other stuff on Steam, right? They want to put Judgment on Steam.
Okay.
They can't,
Why?
because the actor who plays the lead character in Judgment, his agency does not want it on Steam.
Why?
I don't know.
Epic
But-
or something?
Huh?
Are they owned by like Epic or something?
No. They don't want it on PC, period.
What? Why? They're just...
The Japanese acting agency
God.
Yes.
just says we don't want our client being represented on computers.
Do they realize that a PlayStation is a computer?
I don't know. It's literally a Sony Entertainment Computer System or whatever
That's-
it stands for. Sony Computer. Yes.
I would
Yes.
love to know their reasoning.
I would love to have been in the meeting where you're like how does an agency even find out? Like, just they're talking to the actor like, hey, we think the game may do even better because they're going to put it on PC and it's going to sell a lot more copies. Says actor, excited to his agent. Agent goes and reports to some people, hey, I just had to talk with my client that apparently that Judgment game that he's in is going to sell a lot more copies. It's going to be very good for us. And someone said, what? And then imagine being the guy working at Sega and you get a call. It's like, don't put that game on PC. Who is this? We're from acting agency. We represent star of Lost Judgment. Don't put the game on PC. What? Why?
We don't
Imagine-
want the extra exposure and the extra money that we will be getting.
Maybe they think PC is easier to mod and they will steal his likeness.
That would be funny.
If
That would
they
be
are-
funny. That would not be the first time that something just unbelievably ridiculous came
What's really
from-
funny about it is that they would be 20 years late to the party if that was the case, because Square was worried about the same thing in reverse when they did Spirits Within. Do you guys know about the digital actress program?
Eros, yes. We
The
know.
what?
So
Yes.
the digital actress
Aki
program,
Ross,
Joey.
baby.
So here's the thing. Squaresoft, were so convinced that their methods of digital CGI filmmaking were going to revolutionize filmmaking worldwide that everyone was going to want to copy their methods and their technology.
Everyone was going to make big money. Boat and leather coat I will buy.
So, I mean, also, if you guys don't know why the movie was so, there's many reasons why the movie was so expensive, because to be fair, it had very impressive technology, but they decided this needed to have like Hollywood and not just like Japanese, like they wanted to work with American film professionals and American actors, right? So they had to be able to have the studio in the States, right? But the States are very far away from Japan. It would be great if we could cut the travel time in half by making our film studio in Honolulu.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how to tell you this. The rent in Hawaii is quite high. The cost of living in Hawaii It's quite high.
Also quite high, I would
Getting
imagine.
a bunch of film professionals who maybe don't already live in Hawaii, and animators and computer technicians, and flying Alec Baldwin and Steve Buscemi and other people out to Hawaii, the cost is quite high. But they were convinced they were going to make everybody at Square was convinced they were going to make a lot of money. And this is reflected in the digital actor and actress program, where they thought, for whatever reason, that other film studios who were doing CGI movies would not want to create their own models because that would be too expensive. Basically, they foresaw a future where all films were made through Gmod, where there was a collective set of tools and character models, and in the same way that you hire Alec Baldwin or Ming-Na to star in a movie, you could hire digital Ming-Na or Alec Baldwin to star in digital movies, and you could pay for the model of Aki Ross, star of Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, to be the star of your CG movie. And Aki Ross would be a digital actress who would be updated as time went on, and she would be a pull for CG movies in the same way that real live-action movie stars are, Joey.
Whoever had the silver tongue to convince these idiots, oh my gosh, that's a good con.
This was a different time, Joey.
That's a good con.
Was this before the .com bubble burst? Because I feel like it was. When did Spirits Within come out?
Yes, it was. It was before 2000.
When did it actually release?
You're giving me brain damage.
No, I released in 2001.
Never mind.
Well, it was planned before the .com bubble exploded.
Yeah, it all made sense. Think about it. Okay, we make digital thing make money, right? Money equal digital equal money. Money, digital, money.
It's like printing my own money.
Listen, dude, we can only go up from here. The money just keeps increasing.
We can only go up by merging with Enix from here to save our company. Joe, he's got his hand over his mouth over there now. He's stunned by the news that I've imparted upon him. I could have sworn I told you about this before.
It's a lot.
Anyway, I suspect that the reason that the agents don't want Lost Judgment to come to PC is because they don't know this story, and they fear that the reverse could be true, where the value of their actor could be diminished by him becoming a digital actor. My guess.
The value of our actor will be diminished by introducing him to thousands of new people. Millions of new people. Globally.
I mean, freaking Persona 4 Golden, which is an old game, sold, like 500,000 real fast on Steam.
Yeah.
I have to believe that if a major, let's say Lost Judgment 3 launched simultaneously on all platforms, it'd sell a couple million on PC.
You remember how Nolan North is in Persona 4?
Yeah, I remember that.
That gravely diminished sales of Uncharted 4.
It's true, it did.
Yeah.
Because think about it, someone can just pirate the Nolan North experience.
It's true.
I legit do not understand that logic. It makes absolutely no sense.
Listen, I mean, I'm guessing as to what their logic is. I don't know what the logic is, but the point is, Sega's literally said we might have to cancel the series because we have hit a complete impasse with the representatives of this actor, and we don't want to continue without this actor.
That's rough.
Then they showed Age of Empires, which we talked about during the E3 episode.
The first set of gameplay for Aloy in Genshin Impact, even though I already knew what her moveset was because people leaked it 3 months ago.
I got thrown for a loop when I knew that Aloy was coming into Genshin Impact because I saw ads for it a week or two ago. But she started talking and I was like, "That's not Ashley Birch." And then it kept going on and it got to the battle sequence and I was like, "Is that Ashley Birch?" I was 99% sure it wasn't her, and then it dropped a solid 50% of I have no idea. So I don't know. And I literally I thought, surely if Ashley Birch is doing the voice, she will have tweeted about it, but maybe she won't. And she didn't tweet about it. I went by her Twitter account. So I was I don't know. I'm losing my mind.
What's even weirder is they've gotten a little bit better, but Genshin, they did not release any credits for any of their voice actors for the first 3 months of that game being
Why would
out.
they?
But it's weird, though.
It is a pleasure, Joey, to do work for the glorious party. All right?
It's so bizarre because I was like, oh, I recognize this guy, Zhong Li, who I actually recognize as being somebody from Persona 5, but also somebody from Skyrim. And I was like, what is the voice? And so I start Googling, and it's like list of actors that we think. It's like
Think
what?
are in Genshin.
Like,
Oh my God.
Reddit posts like we're theory crafting. And it's like what? But since
Well,
then,
there's only 3 voice actors in Skyrim.
you're right.
There's Pete, as in Pete from Disney properties. He's one of
Jim
the 3.
Cummings.
Yep.
Yeah, Jim Cummings. My bad. There's Jim Cummings. There's the guy that sounds like this and talks about crossing the border, and then there's like one other guy. So, and then there's like 2 women.
Todd doesn't do a voice in that game, does he? He's only has a voice in Oblivion.
I think you're right. I don't know.
It is only in
Who
Oblivion.
does the voice of Maik the Liar?
We've actually, I think that's all the news because the last thing was Death Stranding.
That's
which we already
probably
talked about.
that's the
probably Todd.
Maik the Liar. That's probably like freaking Pete Hines or something. Think
So
about the person who lies the most from that
the
company.
only thing after that was Death Stranding. Anyway, I haven't played anything lately because I have been too busy doing work stuff. I've been working. I've been doing other stuff. I've been playing video games. However,
play video games.
other people here have been busy playing
Play
video games
the
a little bit.
game.
Not a lot. You guys have other stuff going on too. But you've been playing some video games. Joey, you've been playing that not Left 4 Dead game, Back 4 Blood.
I played a little bit of it. I'm trying to find the messages I sent you so I can have a cheat sheet to remind myself what I was talking about.
The main thing you said that surprised me was that you said, "Yeah, so it's not that much like Left 4 Dead."
It doesn't like. Here's the thing: is I have then talked with people that have completely opposite opinions of me. I feel like that's probably the majority is the opposite of how I feel about the game, and I'm sure from the messages it sounded like I was super duper down on the game. I'm really not. I'll probably still get it, just whenever my friends get and say, "Hey Joe, get it so we can play," because it's still a fun co-op game. It's still a fun game, but I was really shocked by how not Left 4 Dead it felt to me. Let's see, what did I write? I talked to, and this is the main first difference I saw, and this isn't even really like a knock on the game necessarily, because added complexity is fine. But it's like, I was talking to you, it's like Left 4 Dead, it's like, you press start, you invite friends to a multiplayer session.
You play
you hit
the
start.
game.
Once you hit start on a campaign, it loads. You are in your room, you pick up a health pack, you pick up a weapon, and you go.
That's the game every time. That's
This
what makes
game-
it so accessible.
Yes, this game, you start out, you press start, it loads into a hub world, and the hub world isn't bad necessarily. I don't hate that aspect, and I do like that it has
Always bad unless you can teleport to wherever you want to go in the hub world at any time.
It's not too big though. But that being said, I do like that there is a shooting range that has all the weapons and all the things you can pick up. So I was able to actually play around with those before I started playing. But the game starts up, you do that, you have objectives, and it's like, go talk to this man for the loot box thing. Go over here to the yada yada. You get over to the campaign, you find the campaign, you invite somebody to the campaign. Pick your loadout. What? Oh, you have cards now, but you have perk cards, but these perk cards are not perks that you get by default, it doesn't seem. It looks like they're perks that you get a random hand and you pick like one before the match starts, and I think you can also get them in-game by going to the shop. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever. You do that, you pick your character. Characters are different this time around because they have passives associated with the character themselves. You get into the game.
I don't want to interrupt you, but just gotta say one thing really quickly.
Yes.
Just because I felt this before when you were talking about it, but I'm feeling it right now. As someone who likes customization of multiplayer games, custom kits, create a class, right? I like Call of Duty.
Yes.
I've got to say, Splitgate did a tweet a couple weeks ago that was like, did you know that there's a 1 in 10 trillion chance that when you pass through a portal, you will just be randomly transported to a spot in space and die in the game? That means there's a higher chance of that happening than this game ever getting wall run or create a class. The whole feeling of Splitgate of just like you start talking about like perks and things, and I just want to play a video game. I just want to turn it on. I just want to shoot a gun. Please free me.
And it's like, I don't...
Oh, Jacob, loot boxes.
I know.
I don't understand the loot box thing, because I don't even know if it is a loot box. I'll get into that in a second. But it's like...
No loot boxes, no way
like,
to pay
you're
for
loaded
power.
into the game, and even then, it's like, that's when you would expect for you to just play the game. But before you leave the hub area, there's now a shop with the in-game currency that you get per run. And you can buy, obviously you can buy items and throwables, but you can also buy, I think you can buy perks, and you can also buy like maximum team health increase and stuff like that, and there's a lot more thinking involved, and that's not always a bad thing, and I don't even know if it's a bad thing in this game. It's just, it is not the hop in and just play the game experience that Left 4 Dead was known for being, by any stretch of the imagination. Even the guns that you come across, it's like, if I might come across, an MP5, I don't even know if that's a gun in there, but I might come across an MP5, and then later on I'll come across an MP5, but this one's different. It's got different attachments. It's a higher rarity. It does more damage, has lower fire rate, and it's like, yeah, whatever. I'm not too stuck on that. It doesn't bother me too much, but it was the first big jarring. It's like, okay, that's not how Left 4 Dead was. Oh yeah, I talked about, and this is one that is probably just because it was the first time playing, and because it's at baby difficulty for new players, and also I wonder how the level scaling is going to be, where it's like in Left 4 Dead, lower difficulty versus high difficulty is literally just get good, but in this I'm wondering how much it's like, well, you can't really do higher difficulty stuff until you have the perks to do it, because otherwise you're going to be severely underpowered and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure about that aspect, but regardless, the default game mode that we were playing, it was very slow, not just movement. Movement did feel extremely slow.
You mentioned that you were like the sprint felt slower than most games walks.
It felt like, and I know that's wrong, but specifically it feels like the default speed in Left 4 Dead is faster than your sprint in this game. I'm sure that's wrong, but that's just how it felt. And it's like, it's probably because, like I said, it's probably because we were new, everybody was getting used to the game, but it's like Left 4 Dead, you're just going, and this one, like, we went out the door, because there's loot to be picked up that's not just like gun loot, there's like currency, and so everything was like, okay, we're in a hallway, it's like bust open this door, kill the zombies in, look around, okay, bust open this door, kill the zombies, look around, okay, oh, somebody's alerted the horde or whatever, let's hunker down and just kill them all. There's never a sense of urgency until like the one time that we had like an actual timed thing.
It feels very, I don't know, like I don't want to judge it, because it still sounds like it's a fun game, and I've heard people like it, and I don't want to pass any judgment, especially since I haven't played it, but it's like, I really do feel like looking at something like Splitgate, which is like 10 million downloads in the course of like, 3 weeks or whatever,
yeah.
And it's like, I really feel like people are desperate for that stripped down experience right now, because everything feels so bloated and systems heavy.
This is everything but, and that's I'm going to keep saying this, but it's like, that was another thing where I was like, this isn't Left 4 Dead. It's like, visually what you're doing and conceptually sounds like Left 4 Dead, but I never got the feeling of Left 4 Dead the entire time I was playing, which admittedly, once again, I did not play very much. I played half a campaign, which these campaigns are long, by the way. It's like, I think it's probably twice as long as the Left 4 Dead campaign.
Wow.
Left 4 Dead is like four zones, or
yeah,
four
typically.
or 5 zones, and this one, I think the halfway mark was 5 zones, but they're not as long, I guess, and they're not as varied so far.
Okay.
But what else?
It feels, I don't know, it just feels odd, because it's a lot of the developers who worked on Left 4 Dead originally, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the thing is.
I figure it's probably like they thought, let's expand, let's explore a bunch of new ideas that we didn't get to do because Left 4 Dead 3 got canceled. Let's explore,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, but I respect like that they probably just wanted to be able to expand on their original game design ideas, not just make the same thing again. It's just very funny that I think in the gap of time, people just really wanted that experience again. Which, to be fair, I'm also someone who will frequently rail against, like, we can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Try new things, try and experiment and stuff. But it's just interesting. It's just interesting that it wound up being marketed. It's like, we're like, oh sweet, great, more Left 4 Dead, and apparently it's just not quite there.
It's like, I didn't play Left 4 Dead 1. All I played was Left 4 Dead 2.
I think most people played 2.
But it's like, Left 4
I
Dead,
don't think Left 4 Dead 1 came to consoles. I think it
think
was
it did.
just on PC.
But it's like Left 4 Dead 1, it's like you have so many maps, you have the 4 characters, and you have so many special zombies. And it's like Left 4 Dead 2, it's like, okay, more guns, different cast, the same special zombies, but some new special zombies. It was like, it was taking Left 4 Dead 1 and then putting more stuff on top of it. The formula was still there, but you had new stuff.
Yeah.
This does not feel like Left 4 Dead, but with more stuff. This feels like a game that looked at Left 4 Dead and said, let's try to make something kind of like it. Where it's like, it's fundamentally, like, every aspect fundamentally feels different, other than four player against zombies and they're special infected.
God, I want to make...
Seems like they're trying to do a new thing, but like still cater to that old fan base, just with like a few different aspects. I mean, it's even in the name.
And that's what I was saying, and that's why it still baffles me. When it's like, I say this to everybody I talk to, where it's like, the laziest thing you can ever do is just say, this game, I'm just going to completely compare this game. It's like if Remnant, for instance, is like, if all I did with Remnant was just compare every aspect to Dark Souls, that'd be lazy. This is a little bit different because they're kind of asking for it, because they basically said, hey, we're the Left 4 Dead people. This game is, Back 4 Blood. It's like Left 4 Dead. We're just making Left 4 Dead again, but it's not. And it's like I said, it's not necessarily bad either. It's just not Left 4 Dead. I was also talking about the tone of the game, both the visuals and the actual like narrative tone, if you can even call it that. Also, like Left 4 Dead it might be filtered in my head. I might be thinking it's lighter hearted than it was, just because what I'm remembering is not just the game, but also the cooperative fun
Too many animations of Coach being stupid.
Maybe. But it's like
Or dancing with a duck next to him.
The example that I gave you was, it's like we're walking, you're finding fuel around a mall, trying to get a race truck to fueled up so you can bust out the gates of a mall where you have all these shopping like people that are zombies, and Ellis is talking about going to Talladega, or that game's equivalent to Talladega, and everybody's cutting up, and Nick's trying to be the straight man. It's fun. It's like I didn't really get that in this game. To be fair, I didn't get to experiment with all the different players and all the different interactions for the player characters, and they were more lighthearted. But it's like everything else in the world is just, everything is one color palette of like dark black and brown, and you're getting radio signals that are basically just, oh man, the zombies got the orphanage this time, when will this hell end? And it's like, it's so visually and tone-wise dreary, which I guess you're gonna get that in a zombie hell apocalypse, but I did not feel the lighthearted fun aspect that I felt remember feeling from Left 4 Dead, because let's be clear, I've not played Left 4 Dead in a long time.
Left 4 Dead 2 it definitely has the tone that you're talking about. Left 4 Dead 1's opening movie is more like serious, even though the characters still joke around and stuff, and you got characters going, pills here, grabbing pills. But no, Left 4 Dead 2 had an explicitly comedic tone. It was just trying to have fun. Yeah. Except for like Bill dying in the DLC, but that was about it.
Yeah, but it's like this doesn't really feel that way. And before I continue talking about just how visually boring it seems, need to, of course, state that I played the beta. The beta had one campaign, and all the Left 4 Deads are known for having multiple campaigns that take place in multiple areas.
So that might be the generic one. Maybe after this, maybe we'll go to a sunny tropical place. Maybe we'll go somewhere nutty, but... You said sunny tropical place. That was a Freudian slip. You just want to talk about Dead Island, don't you?
Well, it's the best zombie game that I've ever played, but we're not talking about Dead Island, because this pales in comparison, obviously. After I texted you about that, I immediately changed my profile on PlayStation to Sam B, but then I changed it back. I was like, nobody cares about Sam B anymore.
Joe, when you were texting me about that, you said something like, this doesn't feel like the next Left 4 Dead, but maybe it's the next Dead Island or something like that. I forget what you said exactly.
Yeah.
Joey is the biggest fan of Dead Island.
Myself and like three of my friends are like the only fans of Dead Island, I feel like, because I've never heard anybody talk good about that game.
Over this segment, you just have to play, you just have in the background with no music. You just need to have Rule Breaker playing in the background.
Oh, I
No.
thought you were going to say "Who Do You Voodoo Bitch," the song
No.
from Dead Island.
No, he wants
Spit
the
blood like a
he wants the
vampire
SFM
without
animation
warning.
where Coach is standing in front of a sign that says absolutely no cool dudes allowed. Joshua, I actually have a Coach animation I need to send to you immediately after we finish recording this podcast that Joey shared with me a few days ago that I haven't sent to you yet because I wanted to send it to you when I could hear your reaction. Anyway, but yeah, so that's the Back 4 Blood.
No! There's one more important
What was
aspect: the multiplayer, because it's the most baffling part too.
Oh yeah. I remember there was also you talked about. I was like, I don't know what it was.
I'm missing something because I wanted to put it out of my mind. As far as I can tell, they've not said they've said we're going to be adding more stuff as the game goes on, obviously, and I believe them that they will be doing that. If they do not add the traditional Left 4 Dead multiplayer, I'm going to eat glass because it's the how are you releasing this game without the classic Left 4 Dead multiplayer? Right, as it stands right now, there is one.
Let's explain to people who don't know what the classic Left 4 Dead multiplayer is.
Okay, so
obviously Left 4 Dead is a multiplayer game where you play cooperatively with yourself and 3 friends to survive against zombies, but there is a competitive multiplayer component to Left 4 Dead 2.
I am willing to bet when people say, yes, I used to play Left 4 Dead, what they mean is, yes, I used to play the versus mode in Left 4 Dead, because that's all of what I played. Everybody I know played that. It's like, the campaigns are fun enough, but you can only do that so much. It's the multiplayer that really shines, where it is 4v4, 4 of you are the human players trying to get to the end, and 4 of you are special infected trying to stop them. And you just see which team can get the furthest every time, and then by the end, you picks the winner, whatever. That when I think of Left 4 Dead, that is what I'm thinking of. I'm not thinking about the campaign by itself. I'm thinking about the versus campaign. I'm thinking about being the special infected. I'm thinking about cooperating to get through them, or to, being like, okay, I'm the, my friend's the boomer, somebody's the charger. It's like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to blind them, you charge them. Somebody, let's get these tactics figured out, or just screw it, let's just go in and hope they're bad. Usually they're not, but whatever. This game does not have that. And this game has one versus multiplayer mode, and it's not a bad mode, but I don't see it sticking. It is the same. It's a similar concept. It's just you rotate 4v4, heroes, and 4v4 special infected. The heroes it is a smaller area that has a battle royale circle around it that slowly closes in. You have a few seconds to get set up, and then it starts, and the special infected come after you, and the circle starts closing in, and you see how long you can survive. At most, the rounds that I played lasted 5 minutes when we were doing really good, but they usually go much, it's usually over in like 2 minutes if you're going up against people that are half decent.
Yeah.
And then it switches, and it's, okay, this team survived longer than this team, they've won the first round, and you just do that, and it switches to a different map. And that also adding to the extra little complexity, the special infected, it's not randomized. You pick your special infected, but you also pick which variant of your special infected that you chose, and then you have an upgrade skill tree that you do mid-match.
Oh, mid-match. Okay, that makes more. Again, part of my problem with because the whole point of Left 4 Dead is I can be playing with someone who's been playing for 500 hours, and I can be playing for 5. And other than our skill levels and our game knowledge is the only thing that separates us, really.
Yes.
So when you said,
however,
I know you said they're like perks and classes and stuff. When you started talking about upgrade trees for infected in this, I was like, but they say in match we're like a CS:GO or whatever. Not Counter-Strike Global Offensive, just Counter-Strike in general.
Yes. However, once again, you have the cards you equip before.
You see that thing that's like the worst version of Valorant.
So there is that to an extent, I think.
I forgot about Valorant.
Yeah, everyone forgot about Valorant.
They sure did. And with the multiplayer cards, so the campaign cards, you start out with very little. And in multiplayer, in the beta, you started out with a lot. So maybe you don't earn extra. Maybe you just do pick beforehand. Maybe everybody is equal, but I don't know. But regardless, also the issue with that I actually ran into immediately was, I was like, okay, I'm going to be, because God, I don't know the names of these guys because they're all so generic looking. They all look the same. It's just like a different shape. Basically, they're all the same looking zombie. It's just one's tall and lanky, and one's got 4 arms, I guess, and spits or jumps or claws, whatever. But you have the issue of not too many people can pick the same one. So I ran into a situation where I was using one, and on the 3rd round, I'd already put all my upgrade points into it, and 2 other teammates had already picked that. I can't pick that anymore. So I had to go pick something else that I didn't have any upgrades in. But whatever. Regardless, I actually had pretty fun with the a pretty good time in the multiplayer.
It sounds like the game's good. It
Yes.
just sounds like it's not what you were expecting. That's the main thing.
It's like the multiplayer mode.
It's Left 4 Dead 2, one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah.
That's the
And
problem.
so therefore I'm disappointed and my day is ruined.
It's the multiplayer. I had a good time. I do not see people I do not see people picking it over the campaign like people did multiplayer over the campaign in Left 4 Dead 2. It's like I do not see that happening at all. And the fact that they've not said that there's going to be a special...
Have they not? Have you looked it up and they haven't said anything?
Nothing that I could find. And it's like that's the... Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something has come out. Maybe I'm blind. Maybe I just didn't read it. But
Sure.
the fact that I couldn't find anything about it seems like the biggest misstep you could have. Because it's like, above everything else, it's like, that's what people sign up for. In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak for everybody. I'm not even the hugest Left 4 Dead guy. I just remember I had Left 4 Dead 2 on 360 of all things. And
it did pretty well on 360.
On the weekend, the boys would hop on and we'd play Left 4 Dead and we'd just screw around and had a blast. It was a super fun
It did
time.
so well on 360 that Microsoft got in the way of how well it was doing. Do you know this story?
I do not.
Valve wanted all the DLC for Left 4 Dead 2 to be released for free. Microsoft said, you can't do that.
Gotcha.
I forget if it was just free on...
I know I never played the DLC.
I forget if the DLC was free on Steam and PS3 and you had to pay for it on Xbox, or if it just never came to Xbox, but I'm pretty sure it just never came to Xbox. Because Valve said, I'm pretty sure Valve just said we're only releasing it for free. And Microsoft said, no, that would set a dangerous precedent, because we need to make money on the Xbox store! The game is too successful.
They released it on PC for free, and it was like 2 months earlier than the Xbox version, and then you had all the maps for $20 on Xbox.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Okay, alright, there you go then. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, I'm not sure if that game ever had a PS3 version. I know like the Orange Box came to PS3, and then a little bit later on, Valve and Sony signed like a deal to be like, please bring stuff to PlayStation. And I think that resulted in like Portal 2 and nothing else. I'm not sure. Well, because they stopped making games right around then, so there's nothing to bring to the PlayStation. I'm not sure if Left 4 Dead 2 was ever on PS3 or not. I'm not 100% positive. God, when you mentioned Valorant a minute ago, I was thinking about like, it's honestly kind of a shame that game wasn't better, because it's like, the gunplay in it was good. Like, it was a solidly designed game, and since Valve won't make video games anymore, and CSGO is like 10 years old now, it's like that should have been a contender, but like, the character design and callouts were so bad that it's like, who is that? Is that a bad guy or I'm dead? It didn't have like the ease of like, oh look, bad guy that you have like from Overwatch or
also,
whatever.
I wonder if this is something that is just unsubstantiated. I've been wondering, but I wonder if like the game's focus on esports like ended up being a detriment to it.
Yeah, I think when you advertise yourself that heavily as like we're gonna be new esports. Number one, you're investing a lot of money in marketing it that way, and number two, some people are gonna be either A, intimidated, B, cringed, or B, both. C, both.
So I think I've talked about Overwatch before, because of course I played Overwatch because I'm stupid. But I had fun with Overwatch. The downfall of Overwatch can be attributed to many things, but I always wonder if it's like, because they started really promoting the Overwatch League and really started trying to make it a big esports game kind of out of nowhere. And I wonder if that is the reason it fell so quickly, because I know around that time they made a lot of balancing changes. And myself and a lot of people just went, this game's not fun anymore. It's like that all these characters have gone through so many changes, and they just all kind of play the same now, and they kind of suck. It's like,
I can't clown the way that I used to.
Yeah, precisely.
I care about wackiness more than I do about winning.
And then it became about winning, and it's like, well, this game's not very fun.
Guess what?
It's great to me that after like 12 years, TF2 had like the most concurrent players ever.
That was exactly what I was about to say, Joshua.
Yeah.
TF2 hit its highest concurrent player count.
In the end, TF2 still won.
It's ridiculous. Because who gives a crap about balance?
If
I want to dance. I want to hit people in the head with a frying pan. I want to run fast. I want to eat a sandwich and get blown up.
It is the forbidden dance.
Dancing, it is the forbidden dance. Anyway, Joshua,
Yeah.
you have been playing not Civilization, Humankind. We talked about Civ a little bit a while ago. Why don't you, because we've talked briefly about it, but I actually said let's talk about it later on the show, because I want to hear more about it later. Tell me about Humankind. Humankind, it's Sega, right? It's a Sega published game?
Right off the bat, yeah, Sega's publishing it. It's made by... Crap, let me look at the studio name. It starts with a V, I think. 1 second.
I can look it up if you want. You can keep...
No, it's fine. I can just go into Steam and see.
Freaking...
I already have Steam open.
There was a tweet from Xbox earlier today that was...
Amplitude. It's made by Amplitude.
Got it. Real quick, Josh. There's a tweet from Xbox earlier today because the release date for Halo Infinite leaked on the Xbox Store early, and they just tweeted days since last leak 0, like haha, self-deprecating humor. I really, really want to retweet it and say days since last trailer with gameplay 372 or however many it's been. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Having
I want to hear about
Infinity
Humankind.
symbol would be...
Infinity symbol would also be
I was
funny.
gonna say that'd be the funnier joke because
Yeah,
of Infinite.
since updated like freaking campaign footage. Yeah. But freaking so Humankind, it's pretty good. It's got some problems though. So I would say that just off the bat that it's competing with Civ. It's not like it just like you were talking about with Back 4 Blood, like it's very overt with what it's trying to be and what it's trying to be the killer of. And I would say that Civ 5 is still probably a more complete game, but this is definitely better than Civ 6 in its current form. And probably some people really like Civ 6, don't really know what I mean by the differences between it. I'm just not going to get into that. But basically, I'll put it this way. So Humankind, the main differences between it and Civ come in like in just the way you pick your civilization. That's the main difference, is that you kind of choose a culture per era instead of just having, you're playing as Gandhi for the entire game, or you're playing as Teddy Roosevelt for the whole game or whatever. So basically, usually how it works is when you pick your civ in Civilization or in this game, you'll get your one little perk that you get, and then like 2 unique units, and that's kind of the extent of it.
And that's what you've got for your whole runtime, because you're now committed to that nation and its kit.
Yep.
Yeah, and it honestly, and the leaders will have different, like slightly different AI personalities sometimes. And honestly, in Civilization, one of the things I always really disliked about it is it always made it seem like all the leaders were kind of interchangeable for the most part, because again, they have their one unique ability and like a couple of traits, and that's kind of it. And I think Humankind does a much better job of dealing with that, not just through the perks that you get, because you kind of get the same amount, but only for one era. But you can also, you also, through picking what type of civilization you are, you get like other perks. So like, let's say if you pick an expansionist civilization like the Mongols, that gives you like a higher innate war support and a couple of other factors that let you go to war faster, give your troops buffs, stuff like that, whereas you have shortcomings when it comes to something like growth or production or whatever the hell else. So it's like there's a lot more customization in it, just because you can very quickly spec into, like, because Lord, there's so much to digest here, and I didn't write anything, so
it's
this
okay,
is going
don't
to be
worry
me
about it.
rambling, so I apologize. But
listen, there's no
one of the things
structure
I
on
really
this
dislike
show,
about
it's fine.
Civ,
It's true.
one thing I really dislike about Civ is you can pick a civilization that's very specialized, and sure, you will get like spawn preference. So like they'll try to put you in an area that complements your civ, but sometimes the area they put you in still just kind of sucks for your civ, and then you're kind of just stuck with it, right?
Yeah.
So let's say
unless
you're
you
picking.
re-roll.
Yeah, let's say you're in Civ 5. You're playing as the Indians, who their main thing is small amount of cities, but their cities are gonna be like mega huge, right? And then it spawns you in a desert. Like, what are you supposed to do, right? You walk around with your settler for 10 turns to look for a better spot, or if you do that, you're gonna be behind. So what do you do now, right? So one thing I always have disliked is that, and just being able to switch between cultures makes it a lot easier to respec if the game is going poorly for you,
without
and try to
literally
turn it
restarting the
around.
game, and you can respec midway through. You can make changes as circumstances change.
Yeah, exactly. And also, people were saying that, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to be changing. It's going to feel very, like, I'm going to feel like I have no national identity or whatever with my Civ.
Because you
But
can change, you can change all these attributes
Yeah.
essentially whenever you want.
willy-nilly. But at the same time, even though I would say that the later game attributes are better for the most part, it's like you can stick with one Civ if you really want to. And from what I've been able to tell, that's completely viable. Like, I've done it. I've never done it for an entire game, but I've done it, like, 2 or 3 times in a row with a couple of Civs where I really like their buffs. And I don't really think it hurt me that much. So honestly, I think it just gives you a lot more options of how to play and makes the game feel more iterative as you go on.
So I've
also
heard...
just
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
You go first.
No.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I have a question that's potentially going to direct you to something else, so you finish your thought first.
Okay. Well, I was moving on as well.
Okay. What I was going to ask was, because I've heard a bit about like how basically you can change your culture and your nation midway through to respec for changing situations. It'll change the art and style and stuff accordingly, but certainly like some legacy buildings will kind of stay the same, so you get that idea of like kind of development over time. But one thing that I haven't really heard anything about other than that it's interesting and different and cool is the combat. How does the combat,
this is
how does
good,
the combat
this is
work?
the only thing. Okay, so the way that combat works is it's kind of a blend of Civ 4, 5, and 6, but better. Where in Civ 4, one thing that a lot of people liked and a lot of people didn't like, it was part of the reason that Civ 5 changed so much, was that in Civ 4, you could literally just stack units upon units upon units on the same tile. And as you did that, it was just the overall combat strength would increase, right? So you would just have these death stacks running around the map, and it's like they don't take up any space. There's no positioning, like, strategy behind anything. You just have a giant-ass death stack moving toward your enemy city, and you bang the death stack into the city for a bit until you win.
Oh yeah, dude, grand strategy nerds have all kinds of great terminology for their nonsense.
Yeah, trust me, we have a lot of stupid ass lingo that we use. But yeah, so and then Civ 5, which was kind of lethargic by comparison, but it was like you could only have one unit per tile. Unless it was a naval unit and then a transport ship with
somebody in the boat.
Yep.
Yeah, or like a great person or like a worker. Like if it was another type of unit, you could have it on the tile, but otherwise it was one unit per tile. And so you'd have basically giant army engagements where you were like 5 tiles wide, you had archers in the back, warriors up front, you're trying to outflank the enemy and stuff like that. And it was kind of still rudimentary because like combat bonuses for having troops nearby you or whatever else were still like really small. Like you get like a 10% flanking bonus and then like terrain would impact, but it was still like very small.
It was
like,
mostly just down to which unit had better numbers.
Yeah, or which unit had better technology is usually what it came down to, or do you have 5 times as many as them? The way that Humankind manages it is that it's kind of a cross between the two, where you can have death stacks, but they can only be a certain size, and which increases during the game. So I think it starts at 4, and I think it goes up until about 8. And basically, you can have that many units on the same tile, right? And they'll move as fast as the slowest unit.
Got it.
And then, when you engage in a battle, before you engage in it, like if you're hovering over the enemy that you wish to attack, it will show you like a zone of control that both sides will have access to before the fight starts. And basically, if you're on the offensive, there will be a flag that you have to capture in order to win the fight.
So does this generate a new map, or does it just say, okay, this 15 by 15
we take
section...
the current terrain, we use the terrain that these two armies are on, and we're going to use the surrounding area and make this into the fight.
So when stacks hit each other, it designates the surrounding section of the map and then unstacks them.
Exactly. And then there's a deployment phase where both sides, with fog of war, they can't see what the other side are doing, they set up their armies accordingly. And you could do it however you want. You could have, cavalry on the wings, archers in the back, or you could be an idiot and do it the opposite way, or like whatever else. And it's like you set it up based on like terrain advantages, stuff like that, and you're actually having to be really tactical about it, and you get that opportunity to do it early game. It's not just like, oh, they caught my army while I was on the move, so my army's in a giant line.
And the other benefit of this that you were talking about is that this means that combat engagements don't last like 15 turns. Because in normal games like these, you get, your one unit gets to attack once per turn, but on each turn you're also managing your city and the other war that's happening over there, and every single other aspect. So you're like one battle can take 5-10 turns, and a turn, if you're doing everything, can take like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, and the way it works in this game also, you have multiple combat rounds per turn. So before, there was literally never a battle unless it was like literal, like, guys with M1 Grands versus, guys with swords that was going to last one turn. It was almost never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
In this, now, you have 3 rounds of combat per turn. So it's like you both get an opportunity, and obviously if you're the attacker, you're trying to capture this team's flag. So you get 3 turns to try to break their defenses and break through their flag. And so this brings in a lot of interesting strategies where, especially if you're on the defensive, am I better to defend in this situation and so that I keep my combat strength so I can defend the flag, or is it really important that I take this higher elevation area so that, I have higher combat strength?
I adore the sound of this.
Yeah, no, it's great. Honestly,
I really like Civ, but combat in Civ is always
boring.
It's theoretically
it's
interesting.
Boring. No, that's why that's part of why, like, in recent years I've been more of a Paradox guy, because even though that is also like depth stacks and stuff, it's a lot of like army composition, terrain bonuses, stuff like that.
Yeah, the combat is complex at least.
Yeah, and it's like in Civ, it's just like it's very lethargic. That's the main thing. It just takes a long time.
It's slow. It's not very big brain. It really only is interesting as part of like the larger narrative you're telling yourself about the world that you're building.
Your civilization's rise and fall. Yeah.
The gameplay isn't fun in combat. This actually sounds like this is pretty sharp.
And also, this brings up a lot of things, because I was talking about the zone of control that you have, like, before the fight starts.
I thought you were about to say zone of truth.
No, not zone of truth.
I thought you were about to say I cast zone. I have McElroy PTSD. Every time I hear zone of, I just think it's going to be truth. I'm sorry. Please continue.
So basically, like I talked about the whole like zone of control thing before a fight, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you want to declare a surprise war on someone, right?
Sure.
And so you have their main, you have your main army in sight of their main army, and you're kind of like in a neutral area between your two civs, right? And you see that their army is backed up against some mountains. So if you attacked them there, the little zone of control thing would pop up, and you'd see that they have their back to mountains. They can't deploy in as many tiles.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're only going to be able to deploy in one tile, which means that army of 5 troops, you're only going to be able to use one of them, my friend.
That's pretty good. I like that.
And so that brings in another level of strategy where there are going to be fights where you either have armies that are outside of the combat zone, or you have armies outside the combat zone that you can bring into the combat zone if you're able to reinforce, and you have areas of the combat zone. That was the next thing
I was going to ask was, if you have 2 stacks next to each other, can one of the stacks interfere with the second stack interfere with an ongoing fight?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, if they are in the zone of control, you can also deploy that army, and it also affects the enemy zone of control. If they are outside the zone of control, they can still contribute to the fight. You just have to, one by one, basically reinforce the battle with your guys from outside of it.
That makes sense.
Which will obviously take movement.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, so you can get into situations where you're fighting an army that's twice your size, but you get them on bad ground, and you're just going to, it's going to be, instead of a 5v3, it's going to be a 1v3, because you just have them backed up to a mountain and they have one tile.
Yeah, this sounds badass. I'm into this.
And then you also have, so the other thing, so let's say that you defend your flag, or you take the other team's flag, right? This is actually detrimental sometimes.
Ooh.
Because in certain situations,
in
certain situations, you can keep a fight going for multiple turns. I'm honestly not sure on the prerequisites to keep a fight going multiple turns. Of course, it happens in like sieges and stuff, but sometimes like the fight is only allowed to last for 1 turn. It's just, okay, you didn't capture the flag, the fight's over, you lose. But there will be circumstances where fights can last for multiple turns. So you could be in a situation where there's there's like 2 enemies left, and you have 5 guys left, like it's clear you're gonna win, and they're not even covering your flag. I mean their flag, and you're like, oh, I could just march in and take it on this last turn. But you can decide, I'm not gonna do that. And then what you can do is you can take it into a next turn, and you can just annihilate the rest of their army. Because if you take that flag, or if you're not able to take that flag at the end of a round, the fight theoretically will end. And one side will just retreat from the battle, and will basically lose that land, and will retreat like 8 tiles away or something.
Right.
So they'll lose that land, but you theoretically also lose that opportunity to destroy their army. Because they're like 2 turns of movement away, so they're going to be able to escape.
They get their allowance of let's get out of here.
Yeah, basically.
And
there's also an option
and destroy them.
Yeah, there's also the option whenever someone initiates combat with you, you do have the option to retreat, which basically will put like an amount of tiles between you and them, but it will hamper your movement for the next few turns. And you will not be able to retreat again if you're caught up. So theoretically,
what would be really cool is
what?
if you retreated late in the battle, like you'd already taken some damage. There's a dice roll on your people have quote panicked, and when you retreat, they're unstacked.
That would be cool, honestly. But yeah, so you can theoretically retreat, but it's going to hamper your movement, and you can't retreat again. So let's say if you're getting attacked by 2 separate stacks, then like that other stack could just chase you and
just jump on you again, and they can't hit you. Yeah,
exactly. But there is an option to just tactically retreat if it makes more sense. And
that's very
the other big thing is like honestly production and food and especially culture feels like it's really taking a backseat in Humankind. But I really don't care that much because the combat is just so much better. And also the technology is really well done.
I was about to say, so you mentioned culture and production and stuff. I was actually about to ask, so in this game, do you still have the same classic win states of like conquest, culture, science? How does it work?
Not exactly. So it's kind of the same, but with a bit of a different spin. I don't actually know all the victory states off the top of my head.
Sure.
But same thing where it's like you have a score-based victory. You have a conquest victory. There's also one where you can vassalize all the other civilizations. That's another victory path. Then there is obviously like science, like go to Mars or whatever. But then there's like some other ones. So part of the way Humankind handles its progression is you have stars for each era. Like there are era stars, and basically you have to meet prerequisites in all these different fields, whether it be production, whether it be growth, whether it be combat or technology, and these will award you with stars, right? And it's you can get 3 stars per group, right?
Okay.
And only by getting 7 of them can you progress to the next era. So let's say
you can't just be like, oh, dude, my science is so good, but my culture doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
So even let's say if you picked a science civilization, right? That
your
still only gives you 6.
Science will cap if you don't.
Yeah, that still only gives you
categories.
6 science stars that you can get, right? And you still have to get other things. And those prerequisites are honestly kind of hard to hit for like the first like probably 20 or 30 turns after it. Like usually you'll start like building a bunch of them up if you're playing really balanced, but it'll take a while.
Gotcha. I do have a really important question though about the game. I have a big concern. Did they bring back Elvis?
Elvis?
Yes, Elvis. You are aware, of course, Joshua, of the original Civ and Elvis's important role in it.
Forgot about that. Remind me.
Okay, so in the Civ games you have advisors, right? And they're usually for a specific category, and the idea is you click on them and they're like, hey, if you want to advance your science, maybe do this.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? Hey, listen, our science is kind of lacking right now, maybe you whatever, right? Now, and they're just little AI companions that are like, hey, maybe consider doing this with this stat or whatever. In the original game, they were FMV actors and companions who were like, hey, it's me, I'm in a lab coat, and I think you should do this with your science, right? And they only had so many pre-canned little things that they did. You also had an Elvis Presley impersonator. Because Sid Meier had a funny bone. And he would go, well, listen, if you're gonna go and fight all these other nations, you gotta look cool while you're doing it, or whatever he said. I don't remember his specific lines.
That's incredible. No, not exactly, but Jacob,
But
all of the other leaders are based on either real life or mythological characters.
sure, yes.
So, they're not representing civilizations per se, right? Because obviously you're changing your civilization over time.
Right.
So instead of having people like, like Teddy Roosevelt and, like Queen Victoria or like Queen Elizabeth.
Nuke Crazy
Instead,
Gandhi.
or like Crazy Gandhi, that guy's great. He's just, so cool and
Absolute
chill.
class, though.
But yeah, no, instead you have like Edgar Allan Poe, like King Midas, Gilgamesh. Well, not Gilgamesh. It's like I think like one of them's like Beowulf.
Okay.
It's different.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, like one of them's Edgar Allan Poe, and he's like one of the strongest AIs.
What does he do? What's his special ability?
He looks like Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, okay, that's pretty intimidating if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I know. You look like a drunk alcoholic. Like, what are you gonna do? Or sorry, you look like a depressed alcoholic. I said the same word twice.
Yeah, I understood. I got
I
you.
mean, an alcoholic isn't necessarily drunk all.
Not all the time. They want to be drunk all the time, but they aren't necessarily
Fair
drunk
enough.
all the
Fair
time.
enough.
I'm
But,
better now. I'm drunk.
exactly. But yeah, no. So the elevation actually plays like a really heavy like toll in battle, where elevation bonuses legit like will raise your combat strength by like 40 or 50%.
Damn.
So
Wow.
the game is, or not like 40 or 50, but it's like it's big enough to where like it's like a turn's worth of damage difference.
But the point is, you can now, like, map placement and control matters more than just, like, A, chokeholds between mountains, which are rarely generated in Civ, or B, like, country lines. Like, you actually are trying to build tactical advantages into your borders and funneling enemies, controlling the path of wars.
This comes in handy when you're building cities.
Yeah.
Because you build a city on one of the higher elevations, it's going to cost more movement for enemy armies to move up there. If you deploy in a battle or a siege, you're going to have higher elevation, so you're going to do more damage, and they're not going to be able to advance and capture, let's say, a flag.
See, that was the mistake they made with that big white city in the third Lord of the Rings movie. There's just that big flat field in front of it.
Yeah.
No, Helm's Deep is the one from the second movie. It's like the fort. The big, super tall.
Oh yeah, the
city.
one with like the giant like cliff the guy jumps off.
Yeah, with the big
of
cliff where
and
the guy eats a bunch of grapes and then catches himself on fire and jumps off the cliff. Yeah, that guy.
It looks really dumb.
Yeah, what a hero. That guy was in. Was that the guy who was in L.A. Noire? I'm pretty sure that guy plays Leland Monroe in L.A. Noire.
Excuse me?
The king who goes nuts in the third movie and lights himself on fire at the funeral pyre for his son isn't dead. I'm pretty sure he plays Leland Monroe, the property developer in L.A. Noire.
Great.
I think you're right on that. But yeah,
Small world.
also the way that cities work is a lot different, and I really like it. Because basically, both Civilization 5 and Civilization 6, this is my last point, and then we'll be done. Because I've already talked for way too long.
Don't worry about it.
But
listen, every time that I go, I don't know if I've tried to make this video shorter, guys. I apologize. People are like, good, long videos are good. Shut up. So you talk as long as you want, and if people complain, they should have complained a long time ago.
We're too deep now.
Yeah. So yeah, the way that city placement works actually makes a lot of sense, because in Civ 5 and Civ 6, they both had radically different problems with city development.
Okay.
Where Civ 5, to try to cap the amount of cities you could build, had happiness, where basically you had a universal stat that dictated that based on the amount of luxury resources you had and a couple of other factors.
How pleased your population was with
how
your
pleased your
governance.
population was. And if it went too low, your growth in all your cities would drop to 25%, which is like huge. And if it went lower than that, growth would stop completely, and you would have rebels pop up around your capital constantly.
And you couldn't build
basically
anything.
saying you're overextended. Right?
And the more cities you have, the harder it is to keep your happiness
to control
stat
happiness.
up.
Yes. So the way that Civ 6 did with that is people complained about happiness and I'm not able to grow that much. And so the way that Civ 6 did it was that
stat, but whatever, that's fine.
I did too, and it was actually fairly easy to manage if you knew what you were doing. Yeah. But that's beside the point. The way Civ 6 did it was amenities, where basically every city had its own basically happiness stat, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just dumb, but like I feel like I never really had a problem with amenities. Maybe it was always a problem in all my games, and I just didn't notice. But it was like you could keep it high very easily. Like I don't think it ever became a problem for me in any of my Civ 6 games, right?
Uh-huh.
And so the strategy in Civ 6 was always just build as many cities as possible, as freaking fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it was also a problem with all of the buildings in Civ 5 were all population based, so they all required big populations, which kind of requires you to build tall. And then in Civ 6, they were all just like flat numbers, right? So let's say you're making two.
You built the city, now you have it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
so it's
all
like
you
you're
need.
building, you're making 2 science off of each civilian, right? Or you're just making 10 science. In the first game, it makes more in Civ 5. It makes more sense to build up that one city so you get more because you have more population. In Civ 6, it makes way more sense to just balloon out and make a bunch of cities because then you have that plus 10 bonus.
You
like
just
50
get the
times,
flat
right?
bonus for every city constructed. Yeah.
So it had the exact opposite problem, right? And like I said, amenities was never a problem. It never stymied your growth that much, at least as far as I remember.
It sounds like a case of overcorrection.
What is neat, Joey, about the Civ games and in general, like that kind of the Sid Meier, is they usually have different people come in. So like it's like each one of the last several Civs had essentially completely different directors and design teams, and it was kind of like, okay, these are sort of board games and they're long lasting pieces that people go back to the old ones anyway. So why not remix and try new ideas with each iteration, because people will play all of them anyway. It's just that Civ 6, I think, didn't do as well as they were hoping, which is why now they've made the stuff for 5 harder to get to, because I don't think the sales were as good on 6 as they would have liked. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Actually, upon looking at it again, I don't think 5 is actually hard to get to.
Oh, okay.
I just think that the price for it still being around 50, I feel like that's literally just to deter people from going with 5 instead of 6.
Right,
but
it's like,
that's
okay, it's not
hearsay
that
on
much
my part.
cheaper, I guess I'll get the new one.
Yeah, yeah, that's just that's me. That's
Sure.
me being probably a bit mean, but it's also just the season pass really just freaking like pissed me off. But
Joshua got his knickers in a big twist over Civ 6 at the time. He hasn't gotten over it. He's still mad at that game.
oh no, I've gotten over it. I really don't care that much anymore. I've bought all the DLC since then because I had friends freaking pressure me into
Sorry,
doing it.
let me rephrase that. I know you're over it and you like it more now they fix it. I mean that there's still a certain bitterness towards the entire enterprise.
Oh yeah, no, it's probably around the same quality level of Civ 5 now, but like I'll never like it near as much just because like one, it was just I didn't have as good of an experience with it, and 2, they're kind of being a bit of assholes with the monetization policy.
And so you decided to get into Paradox games?
Yes, exactly, right. I know, right? Just shoot me. It's fine. I have a job now. I can pay for that shit.
You have a job
But
now,
yeah.
so you can support your own
I
addiction.
can, yeah, my niche Swedish freaking Ponzi
You know what, Josh?
schemes.
You know how we need to finish this? We need to talk about the latest and greatest Paradox Ponzi scheme DLC.
No, I'm not talking about Leviathan right now.
Okay, then that just means we need to record another episode soon where you can talk about Leviathan then.
Yeah, I'll talk about Leviathan soon. Don't worry.
All right.
We should
We'll do
have probably
that
talked
next
about that
time.
months ago, but it's fine.
Who cares?
Yeah. So, but to finish up, so Humankind, the way they handle cities is that due to both technology and culture, there's both technology and culture barriers on how many cities you can have.
Okay.
So basically, you have just a flat city count that you're allowed to have, right? And at first, you might think, wouldn't that really stymie expansion? Wouldn't that kind of defeat the purpose of, getting bigger and a lot of that stuff? You can only have a couple of cities. And the way they get around that is they have something called outposts, which basically, in Humankind, the way it works is you can only have one city per region, right? So, and then from there, it's a lot cheaper than just making a new city to found an outpost, which basically lets you tap into resources from just the immediate surrounding area, but also to
But it still
mine.
feeds into the overall network of that one city.
Exactly, and you can also get the luxury resources from this new region, right? And outposts start out as de facto like independent, like by themselves, and they're not integrated into your territory. But then you spend culture to integrate them into your territory,
Sure, that makes
and then
sense.
you get all the
That
rewards
works.
from them.
That works. I'll allow
And
it.
then from there, you basically can always build new cities atop outposts, right? Whenever
it.
you've developed an outpost, you can at any time change it into a city, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're still able to expand, and you can expand rather quickly if you want by just basically, you can, and it makes it a lot more, it gives you a lot more ways of playing because you could theoretically just have one city but like 10 outposts surrounding it to just create a mega city. But at the same time, your city count is not that small. Usually it gets to around 10, and there honestly aren't that huge of like ramifications for going over it.
Yeah.
So
If you
it's like
conquer an
you can,
enemy city, does that add to your total city count?
it does, but you can also just burn it down.
Okay. Just checking.
And just make like
I want to know I have that option.
Yeah, you can just It's honestly kind of hidden in some menus, so I didn't know you had that option at first. But yeah, you totally do.
Okay.
I had to look it up, but yeah, you do. So basically, you can just burn down a city and then plop an outpost on its freaking corpse, and that works. But it's like, yeah, the city counter isn't that bad. So it's like you could either have one giant city with 30 outposts attached to it, or you could have 7 decently sized cities and kind of dominate a continent, and each of them have 2 or 3 outposts connected to them, and it's more it's more decentralized. So you kind of have a lot of options in that way. Where I think it does stymie like blobbing too much early game, but at the same time, it's like if you blob too much early game,
terminology there, blobbing.
yeah, but like let's say you have you want to expand super quickly. It's like, well, that means you're just gonna have a bunch of outposts. You can't build anything in outposts. You can only build stuff in the main city.
But you can get more territory control and resources quickly without
exactly.
without investing in building an entire city. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's outlying territory that could easily be ransacked by your opponents, but theoretically, it does give you an option to expand faster. Yeah. I think it's a really good way to get around it.
No, it sounds sharp. I can't wait to play this when I have time 5 months from now.
Well, right now, it still has some major problems. Like, the biggest one I found, which is still a problem, as far as I know, because this happened to me, like, this last weekend, is if a civilization builds a city on an island, and it's a small enough island chain where all of the blocks around the city, because basically if you create districts, all of these districts will have walls around them, right? It's so you can have these really awesome siege battles where you have like 5 troops on the defensive and 10 on the attack, and it's really interesting.
Sure.
Again, I could talk about the combat for hours, but we're not going to. So you cannot attack a walled city with a naval vessel, and you cannot land friendly troops inside a wall. So theoretically, if an entire island is walled, you have made an invincible city. It can never be taken.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yes. No, well, there is one way.
One way?
There's only one way.
Nuke?
The only one way is if you nuke the city. That is the only way to bring the walls completely down. Trust me, I tried.
I think you're bringing more than the walls down.
I bombed that shit with B-17s for an hour. Like, literally 30 turns in-game, and it did nothing. It was still just chilling. And the guy was like, yeah, I'm about to beat you in the war because you're not taking your war goals.
Secretly, the city is actually just like the city in Evangelion, where it's underground the entire time. Like, they see the planes above hand, and all the buildings go underground, and you just have a flat surface bombing.
Basically. So, yeah, no. It's actually, again, last point, actually, now. But, yeah. Another thing, like I said, the Invincible Island thing will probably get patched very soon, so I don't have many problems with it.
We couldn't figure out how to fix it, so we removed islands.
That would be great. But yeah, no, so the only other thing is that the way they do peace in the game, like, you're at war and then you go to peace, or vice versa, makes a lot more sense than with Civ. Where in Civ, you can declare war whenever you want, but depending on the circumstances, you'll get a larger warmonger penalty. That's really the only difference, right? And this will lead to situations where you go to war, and you'll just be declared a warmonger, even if this person has been insulting you and, like, attacking you off and on, like, every 100 years or so. You're still going to get called a warmonger if you take too many of their cities, right?
Yeah.
So the way it works in this game is, well, there doesn't seem to be much in the way of Well, there actually is in the way of response. Basically, you earn like badges, which basically, let's say if you attack too many people without just cause, basically they'll be like, okay, now you have this badge that makes all nations look at you worse, basically, or something like that. But if your war support is high enough, basically there are grievances between countries, and if you push too many of these grievances and ask for compensation, like let's say, I'm trying to think of one in the game. Okay, let's say your culture dominates in an area that the enemy has their city in, right?
Right.
So that will give you one where it's like, oh, they're oppressing my people, right? And you can either demand that they hand over the city or like
I
give you
demand
money.
they be allowed to wear my blue jeans and listen to my pop music.
Yeah. Give me the Sudeten land right now, right? So, you do that, and if they decline, then that gives you an increase in war support. And basically, to declare like a just war, you have to get your war support up to like 80%.
Okay, so it's very
And once you do
clearly
that, you
it's
can
very
declare-
clearly gamified instead of a weird behind the scenes dice roll by AI.
Yes, and then also when the AI decides to give you peace is also not a weird ass dice roll,
Okay.
because the way you win the war is by getting their war support to 0. That's just it, right?
Okay.
Capturing cities, winning battles, making the enemy even retreat. All of these things decrease war score, and if they are fully occupied, it's over. They immediately capitulate.
Gotcha.
And there's only so much you can take in the peace deal. You can't just roll over an enemy in one war, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a certain amount of war score you will get dependent on your war support.
What's the penalty if someone capitulates and you say no mercy and you just keep attacking them? Do you get like a warmonger?
You cannot. You literally cannot.
You're not allowed? No!
Yeah, I
know.
It's kind of sad, but at the same time, there has not been a single circumstance where I haven't been able to take someone out in like 2 wars.
Okay.
So it's not that.
Don't
big
worry,
of a deal.
guys.
Like,
only
you can
2
still-
wars.
2 wars.
Only
Yeah,
2
no, but-
decades of suffering. We're
Yeah,
actually
no,
involved in
but-
2 wars right now. Two
No,
wars.
like I said though, the combat being like 3 turns in 1 turn instead of taking forever. The combat honestly, like most wars last like 5-10 turns. Like if you're really prepared for it and you're smoking them, like it's not gonna last any longer than that.
Gotcha.
Because you'll just roll over, you'll besiege a city in 2 turns, move on to the next city, do it again, like, and especially late game, like every city has transportation networks that you can use, and it's like it doesn't take very long.
All right. Sounds solid. So when did Civ 6 even come out at this point? It was like 5 years ago, right?
It was 2016, yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah, well,
Almost like to the day. It was. I want to say it was. Well, no, it was in the spring. It was in the spring of 2016, so more than 5 years ago.
well, there you go.
About a year and a half, or yeah, about 6 years and a half.
No, I hope this thing does well for itself. It sounds like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely got some problems though, which I'll just talk to you about, when I talk to you, because doing it in this would take too long. Because, like I said, I could talk about the combat for like 2 hours.
Ah, well. Well, we are going for a while. I think that was a decent episode. We talked about some news. We had some chit-chat.
It was theoretically good.
It was theoretically good, yeah. It was a theoretically good episode. It really is up to the people to decide whether or not it was good
It's up
content.
to the people.
The people.
We need to get the reviews rolled out for this so people will buy our product.
It's true.
The product of this podcast thing, audio.
When's
visual
the Research Runs and Frustrated Jacob merch? People keep asking. When is it?
When is it? Yes. Yes, it is. Keep asking. Maybe-
Joey, I'm putting you in charge of the merch department of this channel.
Okay.
It is now your responsibility to find, reproduce, and create more of those Sonic Adventure t-shirts that you're currently wearing.
Well, no, I can't do that because somebody else already
Is it the
does
Chow
that.
Garden one?
Yeah, he's wearing the Chow
I
Garden
am wearing
shirt.
the Chow
Oh hell
Garden
yeah!
shirt.
That I still that T-shirt is incredible.
It's seen better days, but I don't care. I still like it. It's still comfy.
It is timeless, just like Sonic Adventure 2.
Dude, I was wearing this shirt and I get funny responses from this shirt. Sometimes I just get people like, "Hey man, I like the shirt. Really like that game." And the other day I was somewhere and I was wearing this and like, "Oh man, yeah, is that Mario 64?"
As a point of reference,
I was
folks,
like,
Joey, the shirt that Joey's wearing, because I think it's appeared on camera once or twice, he's literally wearing a shirt that is just like, it's not like a little square, it's like the whole thing is a full body screenshot of the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2.
It is hideous.
It's not good.
Beautiful and low res and glorious.
To be fair, it's a pleasing enough color palette,
My
but it's
grandmother
not.
loves this
Yeah,
shirt
like,
for
honestly,
some
it's
reason.
fine.
Like,
I mean,
so
it's blue and
colorful. I really
green.
like it. It's blue and green with some
A
orange.
little splash of orange in there
Also
from the
love
tree
that
and the
the tree
nuts
is
on it.
super dead as well.
Yeah.
Like, that tree, those chow have not been watering that tree.
No, they have not. It's not good. Whoever took that screenshot was not taking very good care of their chow garden. But then again, there's no chow in sight in that screenshot, which means they may have just killed all the chow
Oh.
in order to be able to get
racing
a
at the
clean
time.
They
shot.
performed a glitch and it made in the.
Well, no, they're all in the hero or villain garden at this point.
They could all be in the hero or villain garden. Joshua makes a good observation
I
there.
need to get.
Yeah, and
they
that
need to
would
make
mean
a
that you'd
hero
have the
and
most
villain
advanced
garden
chow garden.
shirt so I could have those too.
Oh boy.
I don't want the dark garden because I don't even as a joke I don't want to be walking around with like a pool of blood on my shirt because then people will go like, oh man, look how edgy he's wearing.
Whenever
one
we
of
do
those heavy
Sonic,
metal
whenever we
shirts.
play Sonic Adventure 2, the thumbnails for the front half of the game should be like very bright and colorful. In the back half, we should be like holding guns,
Oh my god,
dripping
dude.
blood, like ready to go.
I'll get my katana and
nukes.
a gun.
Absolutely.
There goes Hawaii.
There goes Hawaii. The one thing I will say though, since I just made a joke about that, no matter what happens, no one's ever gonna make me play Shadow the Hedgehog. I can't.
I will never play that game.
I can't.
I thought
be-
5 minutes of it at a friend's
Oh,
house, and that was
man.
it.
Oh, it's
I can't be forced to
it's
play Shadow the
good.
Hedgehog.
I can just hear the menu now where every time you.
I have the 2 snacks video on it. That's all I need.
Burner.
Ah.
Oh man.
Between the
Dean
Light
Snow
Arrow
gives it his all.
freaking stream highlights and the 2 snacks video, I have all the Shadow I'll ever need.
And that's enough podcasts that we need for today as well. So we'll see
Yeah.
you next time, folks.